Some shows don't need a celebrity narrator to introduce the show, but this show does. In a world filled with endless opportunities, why would two men who have built 13 multi-million-dollar businesses altruistically invest 5 hours per day to teach you the best practice business systems and moves that you can use? Because they believe in you, and they have a lot of time on their hands. They started from the bottom, now they're here. It's the Thrivetime show starring the former U.S. Small Business Administration's Entrepreneur of the Year, Clay Clark, and the entrepreneur trapped inside an optometrist's body, Dr. Robert Zillner. 2 men, 8 kids, co-created by 2 different women, 13 multi-million-dollar businesses.
We started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, now we're here.
Mr. Clyde started from the bottom, and now we're at the top, teaching you the systems to get what we got. Colton Dixon's on the hooks. I break down the books. Z's bringing some wisdom and the good looks. As the father of 5, that's why I'm alive. So if you see my wife and kids, please tell them hi. It's the CNC up on your radio, and now 3, 2, 1, here we go.
We started from the bottom, now we're here. We started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here.
Yes, 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 and yes. Thrive Nation, we are in the air everywhere. And if you're listening right now, step 1, listen to the Thrive Time show on KRMG. Step 2, go to church. Yes, go to church. Pastor Jackson Lawmeyer joins us. Pastor Jackson, you serve in Washington, D.C. with the current White House administration as a faith advisor of sorts, and you are the senior pastor at Sheridan.Church, www.sheridan.church, where it's located near where the former Caravan, it's located in the location of the former Tulsa Caravan Club. Pastor Jackson, what exactly do you do with the current White House?
We're going to win with every single facet. We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning. And you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore.
Oh, I get to serve on the White House Faith Office and the National Faith Advisory Board, and that is to obviously advise the president and the administration on issues that matter to people of faith and to protect religious liberty. And like you said, I get to pastor a great church here in Tulsa, and we did buy a nightclub and turn it into a church.
Now, I don't have any proof that this did or didn't happen, but are you the one who advised President Donald J. Trump to remove the Venezuelan leader? Is that you?
That was actually not me. It was in my brainwave, but that wasn't a recommendation of mine, but I'm glad he did it.
However, the man who might have made the suggestion, Levi Matthias here. Levi, you're joining us in the studio here. Levi is a great member of our team here. He's an enthusiast about working out, weightlifting. He's really into business. He's an aspiring artist. Levi, welcome onto the show. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. How are you, Clay?
I'm feeling the flow. So here we go on today's show, on the Thrive Time show. We always talk about how to start and grow a successful organization or a business. Now, on today's show, we're talking about why you must focus on revenue-producing indicators. Now, you say, what's an RPI? Revenue-producing indicators. If you're watching baseball, you would think about the batting average. You say, how good is a player? You'd say, what's his batting average? How often does he get on base? If someone's batting .333, they're probably going to the Hall of Fame. In the NBA, you say, how many points per game does the guy average? If he's averaging 30 points a game, he's probably going to the Hall of Fame. In the NFL, you look at their quarterback rating. There's just different numbers. And at the end of the day, Pastor Jackson, you have to measure what you treasure, whether it's a church or a business. And if you go to Sheridan.Church, you'll look around, you'll notice there's very few empty seats. But at one point when you took over the church and the ministry that had been around for, 30 plus years, there were a lot of empty seats. And so can you talk about the balance of, even in ministry, you have to know your numbers?
Absolutely, yeah. When we first started, there was more pews than there were people. But now, to your point, there's more people than there are seats. And that has been over time, not something that happened immediately, but something that you have taught me very well. What counts, you have to count. And so we count things every single Sunday and throughout the week. How many were there? What was our giving? How many salvations did we have? How many baptisms did we have? How many new time visitors did we have? And we count these things because it shows us where we're doing well, where we're not doing well, and how to move forward.
Now, I'm going to mention this throughout today's broadcast over and over and over again, but if you're listening to today's show, I've got 2 hot offers for you. 2 hot offers. Offer number 1, if you go to the Elephant in the Room, that's our men's grooming lounge that I own and operate. I started that 15 years ago. It's called Elephant in the Room. We have 3 locations. It's a men's grooming lounge, so men's haircuts. If you go into the Elephant in the Room, we have a location in Broken Arrow, one in downtown Tulsa, one in South Tulsa. If you go to the Elephant in the Room stores, your first haircut is $1, and we donate that dollar to a Christian organization called Compassion International that provides food and clothing and shelter and education for kids in third world countries. So you can go to Elephant in the Room, get your hair cut for $1 if it's your first time. Anybody listening, last week we had a lot of people who checked out Elephant in the Room for the first time because of this wonderful radio show. So feel free to join the conversation. Check out Elephant in the Room. It's like a country club for men's hair. That's offer number 1. Now, offer number 2, this is a big one here. If you're listening right now and you've never been to Sheridan.Church, if you've never been to Sheridan.Church, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to pay you $5 cash if you attend church this Sunday at Sheridan.Church. Now, there could be 2 of you that show up. There could be hundreds of you that show up. So what I'm going to do is typically when I go to church, I don't tend to wear a suit. I try to sit in the back and sort of hide a little bit, just sort of because the nature of what I do, oftentimes I run into people that maybe disagree with some of the statements I've made on stage with Eric Trump or whatever, and sometimes I run into people that really are happy about what I'm talking about, but I try to be kind of incognito, but I will wear a suit this week, and I will be easily accessible, easily findable in the back right area. Look for me. I'll have a red tie on, blue suit. And if you're attending church for the first time, come find me. I shall pay you $5. And you say, why would I do that? Well, first off, I think your salvation is worth at least $5. But I think it's very important that I got to put my money where my mouth is. And so on today's show, I'm talking about numbers that matter. And Pastor Jackson, every seat that is empty at Sheridan.Church is representative of somebody who's not hearing the gospel. And I could sit there and tell people how much it means to me if you find a church home and how much I believe you should be going to Sheridan.Church. But Pastor Jackson, until you or I make a no-brainer offer, an offer that's so good, you almost can't say no to it. It really isn't. Everything I'm talking about doesn't matter unless I make that no-brainer offer. So super move number 1, if you're taking notes, you have to obsess as a business owner and as an organizational leader about lead generations. Without leads, you will not succeed. And that's true even in the church game. So I want to go to Pastor Jackson, then I'll go to Levi to get your take on this. Pastor Jackson, if you don't have new people coming to the church, which you do have new people, but if you don't have new people coming to the church, what's going to happen over time?
Yeah, there's an old saying within churches, if you don't evangelize, you fossilize. And so too many churches have done that, though, where they didn't have leads to bring in new people, and then older people, they get older, and then they go to be with Jesus in heaven, but there's nobody there to replenish. And so in a church or a business, you have to have new leads all the time, and that's what we're wanting to grow, right? We want to grow, and so leads are so important. Now,
Levi, you heard a testimonial today, a wonderful lady by the name of Carrie Unsworth. We did a phone call with her and a Zoom interview with her, and she said that she has tripled the size of her company in 7 weeks. You heard that?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So how often when you're working with a client is the core issue, when you first start working with a coaching client at thrivetimeshow.com, a business owner, how often is the core issue they don't have enough leads?
Oh, it's about 100% of the time.
Yeah.
I mean, especially with startups, obviously, they're not going to have any leads. So, leads are super important, especially if you want to grow and scale your business.
And just to be clear, I always want to cite what I'm saying and provide proof that what I'm saying is true. It's not a charlatan tale. That's unsworthmarketing.com, unsworthmarketing.com out there, unsworthmarketing.com in beautiful South Carolina. And then again, it's Sheridan.Church is the church I'm referencing, Sheridan.Church. But super move number 1, obsess on lead generation. Pastor Jackson, when I met you, I remember one thing you said to me that was kind of funny, not funny, or it was funny but too soon. You said, Clay, Sheridan.Church for a long time has been the best kept secret in Tulsa. And I said, what? And you go, and that's not a good thing. You remember that? You said something like
yes,
that.
I did.
I said mangling.
Yes, the best kept secret in Tulsa.
And that wasn't a good thing, and you don't want your business to be the best kept secret. All right, my name is Clay Clark. You're listening to the Thrivetime Show right here on KRMG. And I'm offering you today, today, folks, if you head over to Sheridan Church, I shall pay you $5 to go to church. What? Is that legal? Is that ethical? Who knows? But I'm going to pay you $5 to go to church this Sunday, Sheridan.Church. You say, well, how do I get paid? Look for the guy wearing the blue suit with the red tie. Say, hey, are you Clay Clark? I'll say, are you whoever? You'll say yes. I'll say, great. Here's $5. There you go. I'm going to pay you $5 to go to church. Why? Because your salvation matters to me. And it matters to me so much, I'm willing to pay at least $5 for you to learn about the irrefutable Word of God known as the Bible. So check us out at Sheridan Church. That's Sheridan.Church. The website, www.Sheridan. The location, 41st and Memorial. That's Sheridan Church. The church starts at 10. We'll be back right here after the break. It's the Thrivetime Show on your radio and podcast download. Stay tuned. Shimmy, shimmy, yaw, shimmy, yam, shimmy, yay. My name is Clay Clark, and I'm on the show today. It's the Thrivetime Show on your radio and podcast download on a Sunday. Yes, on a Sunday morning, there's somebody with a lot of enthusiasm and excitement about your life. It's called the Thrivetime Show. My name is Clay Clark, and I'm joined with Pastor Action Jackson Lawmeyer, and we're talking about why you must focus on revenue-producing activities and revenue-producing indicators if you want to multiply. Yes, why you must focus on your RPIs if you want to multiply. Yeah, if you have an organization, you have a business, and you want to grow that thing, you have to learn how to focus on revenue-producing indicators. What are the activities that are going to help you reach more people, to expand your audience, to grow your capacity, to increase the number of humans that are aware that your product, service, or organization exists? And now, without any further ado, back to our interview with Pastor Jackson Lawmeyer. So, Pastor Jackson, let's go back to Sheridan Church and think about it. What are all the things you're doing at Sheridan Church on let's say, a quarterly basis to bring in new people? Tell us about signage and the speakers you're bringing in. Tell us the kind of things you're doing at Sheridan.Church to do outreach into the community to reach people and share with them about the love of Christ and that crazy book called the Bible, which happens to be true.
Yeah, I think there's a great principle. It's called, the purple cow thing. And so you have to kind of stand out. So you no longer, we all know about that great hole-in-the-wall restaurant. That's the best kept secret restaurant, but nobody knows about it. And so you have to have something that stands out. And so what we do, obviously, we encourage our people. Personal invitation. Google reviews, Clay, have been just a game changer because most people, when they're looking up a product, a service, or a church, they go to Google first. And so if you are not in that game, they're going to overlook you. You'll continue to be the best kept secret. And so we do big events at our church, bringing in guest speakers like Eric Trump, Tim Tebow, Rabbi Jonathan Cahn, who's coming in April. And so those type of things help generate new leads for our church.
Now, super move number two. If you're looking to grow an organization or a company, you have to create a three-legged marketing stool, or you will become a broke fool. What? Yes, you must create a three-legged marketing stool, or you will become a broke fool. Now, what does that mean? Well, a lot of people have a patent. They come to me all the time, Levi. They say, I have a patent. By the way, folks, anybody, if you go to thrivetimeshow.com, we're bringing in Tim Tebow in April to speak right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma at our next in-person workshop. We'll bring in Tim Tebow. We'll bring in Eric Trump. We bring in great people. But people will come to me and they'll say, man, I'm here at your April 9th and 10th conference. I just saw Tim Tebow. I love the conference. Woo! And then the room breaks into two crowds. Room number one, Pastor Jackson, they're selling something. Group number two just has a patent or an idea or a product, and they're not selling anything. And I tell people, until you sell, your business will not go well. You got to sell something. And so, Levi, why do you have to have a three-legged marketing stool? 3 ways to generate leads from your ideal and likely buyers, and not just a one-legged marketing stool. Why does Pastor Jackson have to bring in guest speakers and do local outreach and do radio broadcasts and do conferences and all the things he does? Why can't he just do one form of marketing?
Yeah. So you wanna do everything you can to reach your most ideal and likely buyer. So, I mean, there's Dream 100, where you make a list of your most ideal and likely buyers or podcasts, and you reach out to them. You have Google reviews, which is super important when it comes to ranking on Google. You have, cold calling businesses, whatever it may be. It's super important that you do those things so you can grow and scale.
And Pastor Jackson, I think a lot of people think that their idea is so good it will sell itself. I hear people say all the time. I'm not mocking anybody out there that says that, but this is how I hear it. I hear people say, my idea is so good it's going to sell itself. I got a patent, and I get this awesome patent and it's going to sell itself because it's so good. And it never does.
Never.
And I see pastors say it. I see inventors say it. I see restaurateurs. I see haircut chains. I see so many people that have visions of a haircut chain or visions of a big church or visions of big sales, product patents, and they're not selling anything. And Jackson, until you sell something or reach people, it's nothing's going to sell itself. Even the gospel required what? The apostles, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the apostle Paul, he was Roman, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes.
And the Apostle Paul was once Saul. His name was Saul. And Saul devoted his life to persecuting Christians before God literally knocked him off his high horse and revealed himself to Saul. He blinded Saul. Saul was spoken to. God spoke to Saul directly, right? So Saul changed his name to Paul. He wrote 13 books of the New Testament, maybe 14. But because he was Roman, Pastor Jackson, he had sort of a hall pass to get around the Roman Empire. And so he wrote 13, maybe 14 books of the New Testament, and he was able to share the gospel. But what would have happened if, Jesus would have shared his wisdom and message with a bunch of guys that were unwilling to travel around the world and ultimately lose their lives to share the message?
Well, the gospel wouldn't have gone anywhere. They always say if you take the go out of the gospel, you just have a spell. So that is, you got to go, and you have to make those leads. You have to make those sales. And really, that is where we are selling something. We're selling the idea that Jesus Christ is Lord. That's the gospel presentation. And so if you don't go and do that, the odds of people just coming to you is very unlikely. I don't know, Clay. I've never experienced a business that just started and people came to them. I think there has to be some kind of outreach to them.
I think what happens is we go to enough public school, enough private school, enough places where the teachers and tutorers are encouraging and nice. We start to feel like we're super important, and thus our product is going to sell itself. However, that won't happen. And I want to encourage everyone to go to Luke chapter 9, verse 5. If you're looking for your 9-to-5 job as a God-fearing believer, Luke chapter 9, verse 5, I'll read it, and Pastor Jackson, you can correct me. This is the King James Version. It says, this is Luke chapter 9. I'm going to go to Luke chapter 9. I'll give you a little context, okay? So it says here, and then he called his 12 disciples together and gave them power and authority over devils and to cure diseases. Who called their 12 disciples together, Pastor Jackson?
Jesus did.
Okay, Jesus did. And he sent them to preach to the kingdom of God and to heal the sick. And he said unto them, take nothing for your journey, neither staves nor scrip, neither bread, neither money, neither have 2 coats apiece. And whatsoever house ye enter into, therefore abide and thence depart. And whosoever will not receive you when you go out of that city, shake off the very dust from your feet for a testimony against them. What I hear right there is go share the gospel, and if you get rejected, emotionally quickly recover and keep going. Shake the dust off your sandals. Shake it off. Don't worry about it. But I hear a lot of people saying, no, I went door knocking on one door in a row, and then I got rejected. And so now I'm going to Brahms to get some ice cream to try to get over my phobia of rejection. I made 2 calls in a row. Each call didn't end in a sale, and so now I'm hiding under my desk, not making calls. I just hear a lot of, how do you interpret Luke chapter 9 as it relates to Jesus and his message to his disciples?
Yeah, we got to go, and if you get rejected, which you have to have some level of expectation, you're going to receive rejection. It's part of life. I think Winston Churchill put it best. He said, success is going from failure to failure without any loss of enthusiasm.
You are listening to the Thrivetime Show on your radio and podcast download. Stay tuned. We'll be back right after the break. Good morning. It's the Thrivetime Show on your radio and podcast download. If you're listening to today's broadcast, and I'm assuming you are because you're hearing my voice right now, I would encourage you to head on over to the Elephant in the Room Men's Grooming Lounge. My name's Clay Clark. I'm the founder of the ThriveTimeShow.com podcast. I'm the founder of EpicPhotos.com. I'm the founder of DJConnection.com, but I'm also the founder of Elephant in the Room Men's Grooming Lounge. We have 3 locations, one in Broken Arrow, one in Tulsa, one in South Tulsa, one in downtown Tulsa. And you might say, what is the Elephant in the Room? Well, the Elephant in the Room is a men's grooming lounge. So it's like a country club for men's hair, a paraffin hand dip, a hot towel treatment, an extended shampoo. Everything is included to make your man-centric experience incredible. And your first haircut is just $1. And you might say, $1? How's that possible? How's that financially sustainable? Why is that a good idea? Well, we actually donate that dollar to an organization, a Christian organization called Compassion International. So we donate that dollar. So when you come in for your haircut, the haircut's $1, and then we donate that dollar to feed kids in third world countries, to provide them with clothing and to provide them with education. And so you're really giving back. You're also getting a great haircut experience. If you're listening right now and you're a woman, you're an incredible woman, maybe you have a man in your life and he needs to get a manscaping, and needs to get a haircut. He needs to make sure his wig is looking so good he'll get the next gig. I mean, if you know somebody whose hair says, I don't care, maybe you need to send them over to the Mop Chop Shop, the Elephant in the Room, and we're going to make sure that their lettuce looks great. So head on over to Elephant in the Room. We will chop their hair. We will make sure that the mop on top looks extra incredible. And you might say, how can I get that first haircut for $1? Well, you just go to eitrlounge.com. eitrlounge.com. And if you're looking for an entire kind of a vacation experience, if you want to make kind of a family fun, if you have family from out of town and they say, what do you guys do in Tulsa for fun? Well, I encourage you to also head on over to Dr. Robert Zellner and Associates, where the man with the plan, Dr. Robert Zellner, and his elite team of eye professionals can see you. They can provide you your first exam and your first pair of stylish glasses for just $99. And they're located right next to Shields over there at the mall. So what a great staycation. What a great vacation in Oklahoma. Get your haircut for $1. Go get some glasses. You might say, I have great vision. Why do I need glasses? Well, I think you need glasses to kind of feel educated, for people to think you are smarter than you are. If you want people to perceive you as being more intelligent, yes, if you want people to perceive you as being more intelligent, head on over to Dr. Robert Zellner and Associates and get yourself some glasses, all right? Then head on over to Shields. We're having a blasty blast right here in Tulsa, Jerusalem. My name is Clay Clark. I'm the host of the Thrivetime Show. And now, without any further ado, back to my interview with Pastor Jackson Lawmeyer about how to increase and multiply the size of your organization. Pastor Jackson, how do you interpret Luke chapter 9 as it relates to Jesus and his disciples?
Yeah, we got to go. And if you get rejected, which you have to have some level of expectation, you're going to receive rejection. It's part of life. I think Winston Churchill put it best. He said, success is going from failure to failure without any loss of enthusiasm. You have to keep your enthusiasm. And listen, if you get rejected 9 times, you go for the 10th one. The Bible says the righteous may fall 7, but they get back up 8 times. That's the key. You continue on.
And mind you, Winston Churchill is a man, the only man who defied Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler said, listen, if you will, capitulate or surrender or team up or sign an agreement or some sort of peace deal with the Nazi party, then we will not bomb you relentlessly, right?
Yes.
We hear that phrase all the time of, be calm and carry on. You hear people all the time, be calm, carry on, be calm, carry on. The phrase actually was a phrase that Winston Churchill put out there on his, this is big, people don't know this. Winston Churchill was putting out leaflets and flyers and broadcasts telling the people, be calm and carry on, while they were being bombed. I mean, could you imagine going to the grocery store and
Be a bummer.
And they didn't have precision bombs like we have now, right? So they're just, and meanwhile he's going, be calm, carry on. Winston Churchill, that guy, you talk about a guy who stood up to evil. He was the only leader in Europe who stood up to Adolf Hitler. And this was before America decided to team up with them. America was not teaming up with Winston Churchill until America was attacked at Pearl Harbor. So I'm just telling you, Winston Churchill, you talk about a Winston Churchill quote, that has power. Now, super move number 3, you got to obsess on optimizing your online reputation. And someone says, why are you always yelling? why can't I just listen to the show on a Sunday and have a calm show? And then you are always yelling. I'll tell you why. Because people, they cheer for their favorite sports team. Woo! They cheer for their favorite movie. Woo! They cheer for their favorite actor. Woo! They get excited. Jackson, people will scream and yell for an athlete they've never heard, that will never meet them personally. But for some reason, when it comes to celebrating and cheering for your own family and your own financial success, we do golf claps. And I'm trying to get somebody, whether it's motivation or activation or harassment or something, everybody out there, you've got to optimize your online reputation. So I want everybody out there right now, homework, Google yourself. What? Yes, I said Google yourself. You said Google myself? Yes, I said Google yourself. Google myself? Yeah, I want you to Google yourself right now. And when you Google yourself, what people find is good, bad, indifferent. We can't control all of it, but let's make sure that your website doesn't look hood, and let's make sure your website looks good, right? Let's make sure that your brand doesn't look like you hand drew that thing while riding on a Greyhound bus somewhere, right? Let's make sure your website is awesome. Let's make sure your print pieces are awesome. Let's make sure that every aspect of your website is awesome. Let's make sure your book cover makes sense. Let's make sure that if you have a business, I'm just telling you, you've got to maximize and optimize your online reputation. I'll give you an example. If you go to thrivetimeshow.com, that's our website, Pastor Jackson, I have over 2,000 client testimonials spanning 20 years. And people tell me all the time, they say, you know what? I went to that testimonials page. I hear it all the time. And I watched 10 of those testimonials. I watched 20 of them. One guy told me, Ronnie Morales, big shout out to Ronnie Morales Construction. He told me, he said, I've listened to your show for 9 consecutive years. And then one day I took the challenge. I started watching your video testimonials. And at a certain point, I recognized it's real. You guys actually know what you're doing. Now let's flip it into the context of church. You've got to have testimonials. Pastor Jackson, there has to be people walking around in that church at Sheridan.Church with transformed lives. The fruit of you living a Christ-focused life has to be abundantly clear, or nobody's going to want to become a Christian. Pastor Jackson, can you talk about this for a second? Because I think people everybody, we're all not self-aware enough of our online reputation and our offline reputation. We've got to be very guarded about protecting our online and offline reputation. Pastor Jackson, what say you?
It's so important because your website, your Google reviews, and then obviously your social media is you. That is how the world views you. And a lot of that you can control. Some of it you obviously cannot. But you got to do everything you can to present to the world your brand, your message, what you're about, and then testimonials, Clay, are huge because everyone thinks they're being scammed. Everyone thinks it's a gimmick. And so when you have real human beings sharing real testimonials about their experience and how it bettered their life, well, that brings about a sense, okay, this is real, and I'm willing to give that a try.
I'll give you one more example. Levi, we had a longtime employee at Elephant in the Room who'd worked with me for years, and I'll just be very vague about who he or she was. They're going through some life problems where they just kept calling in sick every day, but they weren't sick. You know, people that call in, Levi, you know what I'm talking about. The people that call in, and I don't know, Pastor Jackson, your thoughts on this, but I'm running a hair salon. I don't know how many times I can tell somebody, hey, you can't just no call, no show. You know, so we'd had this conversation, I'm going to say objectively, honestly, even conservatively, maybe more than 10 times. And so finally I just said, look, you've been a great team member. I'm not sure what's causing you to oversleep, but we've had the conversation 10 times. So it's time to move on. You know, I have the old 10 strike rule, you know, strike 10 and you're out. No, I mean, most people are three strike, but I went 10 times, you know. And so this person decided that this person who we had to fire, they decided to call their friends and say, hey, friends, will you go find Elephant in the Room on Google and trash them with bad reviews?
Ooh, that's the worst.
And so we're getting reviews right now from people we've never cut their hair. We don't know who they are. And they're doing it. And I get it. I'm aware of the game. That's why, Levi, we have to ask every single customer to leave us an objective review after we cut their hair. And Levi, you know this, at Elephant in the Room, we are the highest rated and most reviewed men's grooming lounge in America at this point. But Levi, if I didn't proactively want to wow our customers, if I wasn't obsessed with wowing our customers and then asking for an objective review, what would happen by default?
So by default, you are going to drop down the Google search result, and people aren't going to find you. They're going to look up, Tulsa haircut salon or something along those lines, and they're not going to see you. So it's super important that you stay consistent every day on hammering those Google reviews.
Greetings. My name is Clay Clark, and you are listening to the Thrivetime Show right here on your radio and podcast download. And for today's call to action, I encourage you to head on over to Sheridan.church. Yes, that's the church that I attend. And if you attend Sheridan.church this Sunday, I shall pay you $5 to attend. You say, what? Yes, Sheridan Church is located at 41st and Memorial. You might say, is that legal? Is it ethical? Are you allowed to pay people to go to church? Well, folks, I'm doing it. So head on over to Sheridan.church, 41st and Memorial, and I will pay you cash. You say, well, how do I get that cash? I want that cash. Well, you show up, you look for the guy wearing the blue suit with the red tie. That's me. And I shall hand you $5. You say, Clay, I've got a big family. I'm Amish, okay? I'm Amish. I'm rolling in with 45 people. That's fine. Then I'll give you $5 per person that attends with you this Sunday, Sheridan.church, 41st and Memorial. Come check it out. It's really the place to be, the place to learn about the irrefutable Word of God known as the Bible. My name is Clay Clark, and we're going to be back right after the break. Stay tuned. Welcome back to session number 4 of the Thrivetime Show, featuring Pastor Action Jackson Lawmeyer. Again, right here on the Thrivetime Show. My name's Clay Clark. I'm the host of the Thrivetime Show. I'm also the founder of EpicPhotos.com. It's a wedding photography company. The founder of DJConnection.com. I'm also the founder of Elephant in the Room, Men's Grooming Lounge, and many other companies that you might or might not know. But the point is, if you're listening to today's show and you want to start and or grow a super successful company, I would encourage you to head on over to Thrivetimeshow.com. That's Thrivetimeshow.com, and join myself and Tim Tebow. Yes, the legendary Heisman football player, the super successful entrepreneur, the legendary football quarterback, the miracle man, Tim Tebow will be joining us at our in-person business workshop. That's going to be April 9th and 10th right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. If you want to get tickets, just go to Thrivetimeshow.com. Again, it's Thrivetimeshow.com. My name's Clay Clark, and now back to our interview with Pastor Jackson Lawmeyer, where we are talking about how to successfully grow an organization. All this and more, starting now. Pastor Jackson, I remember when the lockdowns happened, and I won't get super political into this topic today, but I'll get super duper ultra political. You have read the Bible, and you've read that Hebrews 10:25 tells us to not forsake the gathering, even as we draw closer to the end. You're very aware of the U.S. Constitution and our First Amendment right to peaceably gather, and you were very aware that people were very concerned about this virus called COVID that everybody's very aware about. And so you decide, you know what? I'm going to keep my church open, and if people want to come, they can. If they don't, we won't. And to be extra ultra safe, I'm going to go ahead and conduct my services from the rooftop.
Oh, yeah.
Until we figure out what this thing is, right? Remember that this is how we met.
That was a blast.
And you did it. And certain people showed up in their cars and honked their horns and cheered for you, and certain people booed. Boo!
Yes.
You're sick. And most people who booed were keyboard warriors. They're keyboard booing. Boo! But they're typing. Boo! In the mainstream media, the Washington Post, the Washington Compost, they love attacking you for this far right-wing Christian nationalist pastor keeps his church open. What a sicko. And Pastor Jackson, you've taken attacks from the mainstream media because you work with the Trump administration. You've taken attacks because you kept your church open. You've taken attacks because you brought in Tim Tebow to speak. You've taken attacks because you brought in Donald J. Trump Jr. to speak. You've taken attacks because you brought in Darryl Strawberry to speak. You've taken attacks because you've stood up for what you perceive to be right. But Pastor Jackson, if you weren't intentional about putting the YouTube videos out of your speeches and the X posts and the Facebook posts, if you weren't intentional about online putting out the video content of what you are actually saying from your pulpit, what would happen if you didn't put out content of what you were actually saying at your church for others to find it.
People would think that I'm the crazy psycho that the Washington Post would like for you to think that I am. And so this is what I've learned, Clay. The only people who are really motivated to go and leave you a Google review are the ones that are pissed at you, the ones that are mad. They go, when someone leaves the church, that's when they go leave a Google review. So you have to be intentional about asking those who like your service, like your organization, like your product, will you go leave? Because they're satisfied, so they don't feel the need to go onto Google and express their rants and views. And so if you don't ask the people who like your product, your organization, your business to leave a Google review, they probably won't. But the ones that don't like, they probably will.
Now, I'm going to share something with everybody out there that could seem like bragging. I just call it scoreboard. I call it scoreboard. Some people call it bragging. I call it scoreboard. Let me explain to you. Bragging to me is where you're running around flaunting your attributes and accolades, and they're not backed by facts, and you're just sort of saying things as a way to conjure up some sort of fandom or likes or views or followers. But the scoreboard is at the end of the game. It's not bragging when the other team says, look, we scored 42 points and you guys scored 6 or whatever. I mean, it's a factual thing. And so between Dr. Zellner and I want to alphabetically recount the areas where we've had success. So in the automotive industry, we've had success. In the banking industry, we've had success. In the carpet cleaning industry, we've had success. In the disc jockey entertainment industry, we've had success. In the photography industry, we've had success. In the medical, I guess M would come before P. So in the medical industry, we've had success. In the precious metals space, we've had success. In the haircut industry, we've had success. And I can go on and on listing off the industries we've had success in. And I'm just telling you that because according to, this is real, everyone look it up, don't believe me. According to Inc. magazine, folks, don't believe me. According to Inc. magazine, 96% of businesses are going to fail. What?
Wow.
96% are going to fail. Now, ponder this for a second. In America, Pastor Jackson, we have 342 million Americans in our country right now. And there's only 9.1 self-employed people left in our country, according to usdebtclock.org and the data that is compiled there. So you have 342 million Americans, and just 9.1 million of them are self-employed, which means we only have 2.66% of our population that's even self-employed to begin with. And then 96% of those fail. What does that mean? By default, you have a 1 out of 1,000 chance of becoming successful.
So you're telling me there's a chance.
I'm telling you there's a chance. And so you move on to super move number 4. These are proven moves that will help you succeed despite what the statistics say. So super move number 4, you have to implement daily huddles or you will find yourself perpetually befuddled. Pastor Jackson, you meet with your church every single Sunday. And again, for anybody out there who's hearing this for the first time, if you go to Sheridan.church, if you show up in person at Sheridan Church this Sunday, I shall pay you $5 if you go to church this Sunday. So that's 10 of you, it's 100 of you, it's 1,000 of you. I shall pay you $5 to come to church this Sunday. Why? Because I actually believe in Sheridan Church. I know it's a great ministry. Pastor Jackson, you have to get together every Sunday, though. You don't skip a Sunday. Every Sunday you get together and you huddle with your congregation. You huddle with your church. You do not let things drift. You huddle on a weekly basis. Why do you do that?
Because if we don't, everyone will forget. So we, every Sunday, will say out loud what our church is all about. And you're like, well, that's redundant. Why do you do that every Sunday? Because odds are we probably will forget it between Monday and Saturday. And so we are repetitive because what you repeat, repetition produces revelation. And so the more you repeat it, the more you'll get it. And so you have to do that, though, with your teams, your employees, because, Clay, you know this. You can say something to an employee once, and odds are they're probably going to forget it. So you have to continue to repeat it.
To hear the rest of today's show, go to thrivetimeshow.com. We'll see you next week. All right, you're listening to segment number 5 of the Thrivetime Show right here on your radio and podcast download. My name is Clay Clark. I'm the host of the thrivetimeshow.com podcast. If you want to learn more about today's guest, Pastor Jackson Lawmeyer, head on over to Sheridan.church. That's www.sheridan.church. Now, without any further ado, our interview with Pastor Jackson Lawmeyer about how to grow your organization, company, business, or just the impact that you make. How to grow. What does it take to grow your organization, your income, all this and more. Now back to our interview with Pastor Jackson Lawmeyer. Repeat it. Let's talk about that for a second. In the Bible, Jesus is constantly using the word verily. People say, verily? Verily, is that a word? What does verily mean? Well, verily, 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 is that a word? Verily, are you saying, what are you saying? Verily, it's in the Bible, V-E-R-I-L-Y. Jesus uses it a lot. Verily, it means truly, certainly. One could even say urgently. So Jesus would say, verily, I say unto you, verily, verily. Is there urgency to it, right? Verily. If you read the book of Revelation, in the book of Revelation, and Pastor Jackson, please correct me on if I'm wrong on this, but approximately, I think in the book of Revelation, I think the phrase, let them that hath ears to hear, is repeated multiple times within the book of Revelation. The number 40. Think about this. Jesus died, right? And then he was resurrected. And what did he do? He hung out on the earth for 40 days before he ascended to heaven, right? The flood happened for 40 days. Jesus was tempted in the wilderness for 40 days. Goliath taunted David and the army for 40 days. I mean, I can go on and on, 40. There's a lot of repetition in the Bible. The Bible hammers home, let them that hath ears to hear, hear. The Bible talks about verily. The Bible talks a lot, actually, about money. Huh? Yeah, the Bible talks about money a lot. Pastor Jackson, there are certain repetitive themes. The Bible actually tells you 365 times not to have the spirit of fear. I didn't make that number up. Pastor Jackson, the Bible tells people, correct me if I'm wrong, 365 times not to have fear. Am I wrong, Pastor Jackson?
You are right. It's repetition, 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 so it produces revelation in your life.
And people will tell me, they'll say, Clay, it's so repetitive. Why do you have a staff meeting every single morning at 5:50 in the morning with your people? Every morning. You're sick. Do you hate your people? I go, no, I do it every morning at 5:50 because I love my people, and I want everyone to learn these certain skills. And Levi, when you're learning about Google search engine optimization, was that taught in school?
Oh, not at all. Not at all. I didn't learn anything that I've learned here in school.
So how many times did you have to hear about the four things the four major factors that contribute to your Google score before you thought, you know what? I think I'm getting the hang of this.
It took me a little bit, maybe 10, 15 times. And
you're a smart guy.
I'd consider myself a smart guy.
But I mean, you do artwork. You were showing me your sketch work today. It's awesome stuff.
Well,
but how long did you have to sketch before you felt like, wow, I could draw something that makes sense, that's discernible? Did you draw for like an hour and then you go, wow, I did it?
No, it took me, it took me months to years to get that good. 2-3 years to get where I am.
And folks, what we're doing is we're creating a neural pathway. Okay, you're creating part of your brain. It's like you've learned to dribble a basketball. Now you can do it without thinking. You've learned to play the piano. Now you can do it without thinking. I'm asking you folks right there to really obsessively huddle with your team so your team can't forget the company's mission. Super move number 5. You can never stop hiring, okay? Now, within the context of church, I'm sure, Pastor Jackson, you've never had a key team member ever just get up and quit or get disgruntled about something or try to start their own ministry to directly compete with yours. I'm sure you've never seen a praise and worship leader lose their mind and quit. I'm sure you've never had a volunteer quit, so this doesn't apply to you. But in the world of business, you can't ever stop hiring or you're going to have a problem. So you always want to be recruiting, just like a college football team. They're always recruiting. And super move number 6, for the sake of time, you got to call your leads until they cry, buy, or die. You got to call your leads until they cry, buy, or die. So we'll go back and recap these final 2 super moves. Super move number 5. Pastor Jackson, with 30 seconds on the clock, why can't you ever stop recruiting new drummers, new bassists, new guitarists, new lead singers, new volunteers as Sheridan.Church continues to grow?
Because the hard truth is people are like granola. They're really flaky. And so our motto is, I learned the hard way. We want backups to our backups.
That's it right there, folks. Now, super move number 6. You got to call your leads until they cry, buy, or die. And you know this, Levi, because you work and you serve an intricate part in the company. But when people go to eitrlounge.com or Elephant in the Room, our website, to schedule their first $1 haircut in Tulsa, when people fill out the form, is it shocking to you that the average person has to be called 5 times before we reach them?
Not at all.
Why?
Because a lot of people don't, I don't know the exact number. You've told me the number before, but a lot of people don't answer the number that pops up on the phone.
Unless they know the number.
Unless they know the number, right.
And most people don't. I can't give you a statistic on that, but Pastor Jackson, most people that I know, this just in, they no longer answer the phone unless they know the number. Is that fair? I mean, does that seem common?
Clay, there's a study about the fear of answering the phone. It's a phobia among many millennials and Gen Z. It's a real thing. They're afraid to answer.
All right. By the way, Jim Stovall, big shout out to Jim Stovall. He puts his phone number in every book he's written and sold. He sold over 10 million copies of his book. He puts his phone number in every book. And by the way, that's how I met Jim Stovall. I called the great Jim Stovall using his phone number, which was in his book. And he has 10 million copies in print. Okay. And then most people, Jackson, to this, it's kind of crazy. Most people today have a full email. Oh, most people have an inbox that's thousands and thousands of emails are piled in there. So even if you email them, they might not ever see it. This just in, folks. Blockbuster is no longer open, and most people don't check voicemails. This just in, Blockbuster is no longer open, and most people do not check voicemails. I mean, Jackson, is that shocking to you that most people don't check their voicemails?
No, not at all. That's why our method is we send a text message first and let them know who we are and why we're calling, and then we call them.
Now, final thing, I want people to know this. This is kind of a new phenomenon. Many, many people are now reporting that they no longer try to get their text messages down to zero. So people that are surveyed now are saying they no longer even check text messages.
Crazy.
It is crazy. So what I'm saying is if you want to reach your leads, you need to call them until they cry, buy, or die. Now, you might say, wow, I never want to hear from you again. That's okay. But if you want to, it's thrivetimeshow.com. We've got Tim Tebow joining us. Tim Tebow's joining us April 9th and 10th. The great Tim Tebow, the legendary college football player, the Heisman Award winner, the entrepreneur, Tim Tebow, the NFL great, the miracle man, Tim Tebow, April 9th and 10th, Tulsa, Oklahoma. Get your tickets, thrivetimeshow.com for our 2-day interactive workshop. If you're looking for a church home, go to Sheridan.church. Church starts at 10, so 10:30. So church starts at 10:30. 10. Oh, 10. So people, as soon as they finish listening to this show, Pastor Jackson, people got to go to church.
Got to go to church. But here's the good news. I mean, 10 and then worship is like 20 minutes. And so, yeah, you got time. You got plenty of time.
So as soon as this show's over, folks, you got to head on over to Sheridan.church. And if you show up to the church, I will pay you $5 to attend church this Sunday, Sheridan.church. Again, it's Sheridan.church. It's the former home of the Caravan Club is now Sheridan Church at, what is that, 41st and Memorial?
41st and Memorial, yes, sir.
41st and Memorial. That's Pastor Jackson Lawmeyer, Sheridan.church. That's Levi Matthias there. And that's Elephant in the Room, the men's grooming lounge. Your first haircut is just $1. And we like to end each and every broadcast here on the Thrivetime Show with a boom, because boom stands for big, overwhelming, optimistic momentum. And that's what's required to have success. It requires you to have a mindset of big, overwhelming, optimistic momentum. And so here we go. Without any further ado, 3, 2, 1, boom!
And right out of the gate, November 1st, Clay, you got me started, and we started making calls, following the system, got me back on track in my business. Basically, once we started making calls, we've tripled our revenue in 3 months. Right now, I'm at a place called Kiwi Brewing in downtown Seneca. That's where my office is located. I've lived in Seneca for 25 years, graduate of Clemson University, business owner for 15, marketing for 25. So we got back on track, and then I had to get my team trained back into following systematic processes. I had to redevelop my edge and get tough again. I had to be tough boss lady, but diligence and routine. And that was one of the first things you said to me. We've got to get back into a routine. And I'm not a natural routine-oriented person. I have to have accountability. I am busy. I'm a high producer. I can make money doing anything I do, but I have to have accountability. And so I knew that that was going to be the game changer for me. And within 2 weeks, I had other businesses calling me because they're like, what are you doing? Like, I can tell you're doing something. What are you doing? Including other agencies out of Atlanta. And so I shared a little bit about your program. I'm like, you are welcome to reach out to the Thrivetime Show and talk to my coach. The system doesn't fail. I have been able to teach my clients the system and the process. And as long as you're diligent and you're consistent, it works no matter what business you're in.
Well, Thrive Nation, on today's show, I'm interviewing one of my favorite people. This is a true story. Eric Trump and I were bringing this thing called the Reawaken America Tour all across these United States. And we were trying to bring the Reawaken America Tour to the East Coast. and we were looking for a venue that would host us for the event. And as it went with the Reawaken Tour, oftentimes it was hard to find a venue willing to host us. And we got a call from a lady by the name of Carrie Unsworth. She calls me out of nowhere like a lightning rod of enthusiasm and energy and positivity. She calls and says, "Hey, my name's Carrie. I know you don't know me, but I can certainly help you find a venue. That's what I do. I'm a connector. Let's go." And now, without any further ado, she's on the show. Carrie, welcome on to the Thrivetime Show. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Now, you are in the noisiest venue in America right now. Tell us where you're being interviewed from. Tell us where you're at today.
Okay, right now I'm at a place called Kiwi Brewing in downtown Seneca. That's where my office is located. I've lived in Seneca for 25 years, graduate of Clemson University, business owner for 15, marketing for 25.
And I'm going to pull up your website real quick so people can verify you're not just a model, you're not a hologram. It's unsworthmarketing.com. That's the website, unsworthmarketing.com. And I wanted to have you on the show today because you're having some big wins. You're having some big success. I'm not asking you to share the dollar amount with our listeners, but tell the listeners what's going on, because you and I had a chance to reconnect here. We've had an opportunity to be working with you, coaching your business, and it's really fun to see it happen. Tell us what's happening.
So started coaching just after 2020, 2021, coached with you for about almost 2 years. My husband had left his job. I stopped coaching for a little while. I know now that was the worst decision ever. I should have kept coaching and continued to grow. So I had the privilege and opportunity to come back in to the Thrivetime program and start coaching again. And right out of the gate, November 1st, Clay, you got me started. And we started making calls, following the system, got me back on track in my business. Basically, once we started making calls, we've tripled our revenue in 3 months. So
Tripled the
really,
revenue.
actually, probably shorter than that.
Tripled the revenue in 3 months. Now, for anybody out there that says that seems crazy, you're putting in the work. I mean,
Yes.
Step one, you got to know. If people say, what does a business coaching platform provide? It provides three basic things, right? One, we provide you with the tools that are proven to work, a system that works. Second, there's some accountability there. And third, I would say it's ongoing education. Could you talk about the accountability, how that's maybe helped or not helped with your business? Because you're a doer, you're a high driver, you're one of my favorite people. Could you talk about the accountability? Has that helped you with your business?
Yes. So to quote you, you said, Carrie, a doer like you is going to drift if they're not being coached. And that is exactly right. And so it's kind of like I'm a runner, and it's kind of like training for a marathon, and then you stop running and then you have to start all the way over, and it's incredibly painful. And you're like, I'm never going to stop again because I don't want to start over. And so we got back on track, and then I had to get my team trained back into following systematic processes. I had to redevelop my edge and get tough again. I had to be tough boss lady, but diligence and routine. And that was one of the first things you said to me, we've got to get back into a routine. And I'm not a natural routine-oriented person. I have to have accountability. I'm busy. I'm a high producer. I can make money doing anything I do, but I have to have accountability. And so I knew that that was going to be the game changer for me. And within 2 weeks, I had other businesses calling me because they're like, what are you doing? Like, I can tell you're doing something. What are you doing? Including other agencies out of Atlanta. And so I shared a little bit about your program. I'm like, you are welcome to reach out to the Thrivetime show and talk to my coach. The system doesn't fail. I have been able to teach my clients the system and the process. And as long as you're diligent and you're consistent, it works no matter what business you're in.
Now, what kind of what does it feel like to have momentum on your side right now? I mean, you are absolutely, and you sent me a text today celebrating another win. And I was like, we got to get you on the show right now. And so I just called you a few minutes ago. I said, we got to get you on now. What's it feel like when you have momentum on your side now?
Oh my gosh. So last year, obviously business ownership, you go into business when you're an entrepreneur because you want to own your business. You want to own your time, talent, and treasure. And last year I felt like I was going to work, and it was like the lowest of the low. It had nothing necessarily to do with the revenue that we were netting. It was really about the quality of clients, the quality of our business, and the quality of my life. And so this has been, I'm on cloud nine. I'm so excited. My team of young people are learning that calls are a numbers game. You call 100 people, you get 3 on my calendar. I have team members that can make up to $600 a day just by making calls, setting appointments for me. So that duplicates and allows me to be the CEO that I want to be, that God designed me to be. And it's crazy, Clay. So I'm going to share this because this is so pivotal, how God uses you. So we were on the phone on our last coaching call a couple of weeks ago, and I was making fun of myself for signing a tree business. And you're like, well, let me tell you about the tree business guy I know. He's doing $1 million a day. He's out of California. Let me tell how he got there. And you thought, I feel like you were just thinking you're encouraging me, right?
Right.
But I'm a dot connector. So what I heard you say is high hanging fruit, and how that business owner learned to target high hanging fruit. And I know what my high hanging fruit is. And I'm like, why am I not doing that? Why am I going willy nilly with lead generation and calls? And I'm not calling the high hanging fruit kind of clients that I want to have. And I changed overnight. I changed that. I got Sales Genie. I exported lists. I targeted companies that are $1.5 to $3.5 million in the industries that I want to work with. And within 3 days, I had meetings booked. And that just converted to, I've converted 2 clients since then. And the difference is, I'll just give you a ballpark number. My retainer is $2,750 a month. These are clients that are paying me $9 to $11 grand a month. And nothing changed. I'm not changing my services, and I'm not wearing myself out. I'm changing who I'm targeting based on my value.
Now, what's interesting, I always tell people that inspiration is the reward you get. I always tell people, inspiration is the reward. In action, though, not doing something, in action. In action is the giant. In action is the sword. I always tell people, inspiration is the reward. It's not the feeling that you need to get started. It's the feeling that you get after you achieve the result. Can you talk about just the rigor and the discipline, and now that kind of inspiration that you have now that you're starting to see success?
Oh my goodness. It's like I'm getting up at 5, I'm getting my workout done, and I'm excited to start working. I'm working before people are even awake, as you know. But the difference is that the people around me are affected by my energy. And so I'm able to draw in high energy people because my energy is where it needs to be. This is what God designed me to do and how he designed me to operate. And so I went from literally, like, my motivation was totally killed to, I'm like, yes, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And, you know, part of that too is like the believability. You know I graduated from Clemson. I love Dabo Sweeney, and he always says, you can't be it if you can't see it. And I'm like, Clay, that's what you are for us. And so I'm like, yes, I needed to be reminded based on what I see in you and what I see other businesses doing, that it's possible. And I instantly was like, what am I doing? I have to change. I have to change what I'm doing. And it's really not rocket science. And I work hard.
I've got 3 questions for you here. The first question I shall ask, then I've got two team members that are actually 3 team members that are in the studio. Now I'm going to let them ask you a couple questions because you are exactly you're like the ideal client. We want to work with people that want to put in the work, that want to make it happen. And these wonderful teammates, they work with great clients like you every day. And so I'm going to give them an opportunity to ask you a couple questions because, as you mentioned, you've been able to grow your business dramatically in less than 3 months. So my follow-up question for you would be, what do you say to anybody out there that's thinking about going to thrivetimeshow.com? They're thinking about scheduling a free 13-point assessment. What do you say to somebody who's thinking about scheduling a free consultation at thrivetimeshow.com?
I would ask them, what is it going to cost them to not do it? What is it going to cost their business to not reach out for that free meeting? And just tell them not to delay. Do it. You will not regret it.
Now, Jackie, I'm going to let you ask a question there. We're going to use that one mic at the end. So Levi and Jackie and McKenna, I'll let you guys all ask a question from that in there. Okay. So Jackie is a wonderful guy. He's doing a lot of web development for us. He's working with some great clients. He does a phenomenal job. Jackie, what question do you have for Carrie Unsworth, super client?
A question I have is, what part of the coaching process really helped you with your business? Like, is there something that you implemented that really helped you grow?
Well, I mean, that's kind of a longer story, but starting out with Clay's book about, you know, the top things I need to be thinking about as a business owner, like going back to the fundamental basics of, you know, because there's 2 things. You're either a business owner, an entrepreneur, or you have a hobby. There's no in between. Okay. And so getting serious about my business and recognizing that if I commit to it, I can do it. Okay. So, and then the accountability of the process, committing every week to meet with my coach is the same thing I require my clients to do every week. So why am I not practicing what I preach? So it's like you do reap what you sow in either direction. So I was like, I want to be what I want my clients to see in me, what I'm pushing them to be.
Wow. Now, McKenna, what question would you have? McKenna is a consultant here. She does a fine job. She also does graphic design, a lot of other things. McKenna, what question would you have for super client Carrie Unsworth?
What advice would you give to clients that are just starting out with us that, like during the initial events, like it may seem like a lot and overwhelming? What advice would you give to them?
It's a guaranteed return on investment, physically, spiritually, financially, emotionally, and psychologically, if you don't quit. If you don't quit. And the diligence, like the consistency and diligence in your routine. You have to do hard things to have great things, to achieve great things. You have to do hard things. And I mean, that's really it.
Now, before we go to Levi for our final question, I do want to pull up your website one more time, and I would invite everybody out there, visit the website, unsworthmarketing.com. By visiting her website, it makes her website rank higher in the search engine results, and that's a great thing you can do if you benefited from this show and this interview. Please go to unsworthmarketing.com and visit the website there, maybe share on social media. That being said, Levi, we're back to you. Levi, what question would you have for super client Carrie Unsworth?
Oh, yeah. So earlier you were talking about routine and being consistent with that. What does your routine look like, if you don't mind me asking? What's something that you do in your routine that helps you get to that next level?
I follow that F7 lifestyle. So I get up early. I'm always working. I've never been the type that needed a vacation or time off. I have a very healthy mindset. Have high energy, healthy mindset. And I literally optimize every hour of my day and always have since I was like 9 years old. So I will say that routine for me, though, I have to have accountability in terms of the things that I know that I need to repeat that are healthy for my business. I have to have accountability in those things, because if I don't, I'm not going to do them all consistently. And in order to lead my team well and grow my business, that's not optional. And so it's not that I can't relax or take a little bit of a breather. It isn't about that. It's really about understanding the impact of my time, talent, and treasure every single day with what I'm putting in. So, I mean, I live and breathe by you reap what you sow.
Carrie, I'm going to give you the final word. Again, thank you for letting me interrupt your day. You were just sending over some wins via text. And by the way, folks, for all my clients, I pretty much am talking all day, every day with all of my clients celebrating their wins. Right before we talked to you, we were talking to a music school that we've had the opportunity to work with who's having epic wins as well. And so it's very normal for, I don't charge you per call, per hour, per text, per email. So it's actually a relationship, it's a positive relationship. And so you had sent me a text and I said, Carrie, we got to get you on the show right now. So thank you for rearranging your day to do that. What do you say to anybody out there that's tuning in that you certainly have their attention and they're taking notes?
I would say follow through, get on the call, and do the coaching and follow the process and learn the system and don't quit.
Carrie, you're a great American. I'll talk to you on Saturday. Hope you have a great day.
Thank you, Clay. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
It changes everything. I mean, you're dead in the water if you don't have a flow of people coming in. And I was just blown away when we started working with you. This process that you have us on, it's just bringing many clients. And I think last week we had 8 leads that came in just in a week. And I'm totally blown away with that. It's wonderful. Who knows where that's going to lead? I mean, I guess in a year we'll have 100 or more. Well, I will tell anybody that wants to work with Clay Clark that he is a man of excellence. He is a man of integrity. He is a man of vision. And anything that he tells you, even if you feel like you don't understand or you're not quite on board with it, if you'll just trust him, it's going to work, because this guy is a genius. And I totally applaud everything about Clay Clark. He's helping us grow, and I'm just totally honored to be working with Clay. And his, one of the best things you can have is objectivity. Objectivity is a total gift. And when I reached out to Clay, I didn't know what direction I needed to go. I actually said these words. I says, I don't know what I have that's marketable. And so we started in a certain direction. And then the more I gave him about who I was, he came back with me and he says, hey, have you ever considered starting a music school? I said, well, no, but that the objectivity that he was able to give me caused me to come back home, to Kathy. And so we started augmenting basically what she had developed over the course of several decades, actually. And so, now we're working together as a team. And I had never even considered that would be a possibility. I saw myself doing something entirely different. And so actually having a coach give you objectivity is enormously important. It's so valuable. It's more valuable than I can even articulate.
Now, Kathy and Lola, I mean this sincerely. You guys are changing the lives of kids, and I encourage everybody out there, check out that website, dulceschoolofmusic.com.
And and I actually tell students this, what you will get out of something what you put into it. And that's just a process of music making. You have to understand the value of discipline, self-discipline. And that's something that I've always appreciated. I actually now enjoy doing scales and doing the basics. I enjoy that as a musician, and I've learned, with working with you, there's just, these processes, and I knew that it was going to be a little bit, I'm going to have to slap my head, okay, you got to get this done today, but I've come to make it a part of the habit of life, just like I do other things. Just a habit of life. Just first thing, get up and do this, that, and then start working on these other things that Clay wants, and and just build it into my schedule. And now it's starting to become kind of a routine, and I don't think about it as being distasteful. I like the journey, I like the process, and I'm seeing the results, and I knew that the results would be there. Because I trust you.
My name is Steve Beatty. I'm with Eyes First, which is an optometry clinic in Tupelo, Mississippi. This is the brains behind it all. This is Dr. Samantha Beatty.
We see a variety of ages and patients. We take care of medical issues, everything from glasses to glaucoma.
It's eyesfirstms.com or eyesfirst.com.
Okay, I'm pulling it up on the screen so people can verify it's a real website. Here it is. So eyesfirstms.com, eyesfirstms.com. How has the weekly tracking sheet, Dr. Samantha, tracking those numbers on a weekly basis impacted your practice?
Well, it's been eye-opening for sure, and it's given us motivation. It's given us direction. We've loved it so much that we've implemented it into our family as well.
I have seen an increase in new patients. I don't have that number right here with me, but I do know this past year, we saw 24% more patients than the previous year. And I know our revenue was up 26%, which was awesome.
It just means it's alive and growing. That's why we're here. If you're not growing, you're dying. So we love to see the new patients, and it's overwhelming how many we see daily.
How has it impacted you, Dr. Steve, to have a plan that is simple enough to repeat to somebody who just started working for you yesterday?
Yeah, that's a great question, because we have brought in some new team members this year since we've been working with you. And just to be, a lot of times I would have like all this stuff in my head that has to happen for the business to run correctly. But now I actually have a plan in paper, and they know what they have to do to be successful as an employee here. And we have like a big, huge win for today. And I don't know if this is what your question was exactly, but we are now the #1 reviewed eye doctor in North Mississippi as of today. And our staff was like high-fiving each other and all that because they made that happen. They're getting Google reviews, they're getting images, they're getting all this stuff going on. So it's been really cool to watch.
Can you tell us about how business coaching has helped you learn how to manage a team of wonderful people? You have wonderful people on your team, and how has it impacted your ability or learning how to manage people, I guess?
Right. It's very significant. We had a practice that we started in 1999. We sold it 15 years ago. The reason we sold it was the staffing and the management of our staff was overwhelming to us, and it was just hard. It was very stressful, and that was one of the primary reasons we sold it. At this point, we've been open 3.5 years, and since we've been working with you guys, it has simplified the whole staff management quandary that often happens at this point, and especially as you're growing. And sometimes it's easier to manage 1 or 2 staff, but then as you grow, we currently have 6 full-time, 4 part-time, so we have 10 staff at this point. And yeah, it can be very stressful.
We had one team member that was probably not in the best position for her, and we had actually considered letting her go. But I'm very loyal to a fault almost to my team, and talking with you guys, we found a spot for her. And like you said, we're putting systems in place so she knows what to do. She knows how to do it. The other new people we brought in, we had systems for them. They knew what to do, like from day 2, basically getting here. And that was not the case back in the past. So it just makes a huge, huge improvement and impact in our team.
I'm not really sure which one's the steering wheel and which one's the gas pedal, but you really have to have a to-do list and a calendar. Dr. Samantha, why do you have to have a to-do list and a calendar? And maybe what has our coaching program taught you about those tools?
Well, it gets everyone on the same page because our to-do list is accessible to our whole team. They can, at any time they have downtime, they can look at it and they can see where they can help us with our list. Our whole office has a to-do list, and each individual person has one as well. So it just keeps us on the same page. It keeps us focused. You cannot keep everything in your head. So it's written down there in black and white. So whenever there's a downtime, it gives us somewhere to go.
In business, a lot of times people feel like going to a coach is a sign of weakness. What do you say to somebody, Dr. Samantha, who's like, I feel like if I go to a coach, it's maybe a sign of weakness or inadequacy, or it shows that I don't have my stuff together. What would you say has been the value overall of having a business coach and coaching team like our team guiding you down the path and meeting with you on a weekly basis?
I'd say the #1 thing for us is probably the accountability and the ideas, the expertise. Also, I'd say the expertise and the accountability hand in hand is very powerful.
So, there's a verse that says that God opposes the proud, but he gives grace to the humble. And I think that's super important. Like when you say, hey, I don't need anybody, I don't need a coach, I can do this all myself, that's pride. And that's, God literally will oppose that. And I think, we love to humbly ask, hey, we don't know what we're doing. We need help. We know how to check eyes, I think, a lot better than you do, but you know how to build a business better than we do. And, you got that picture of the Tower of Power. Did I mention that already?
No.
The Tower of Power, right? And so the Tower of Power is like you have all the little structures for a skyrise, a high-rise building, and it's got the foundation at the bottom. And it might take, I don't know how long it takes, but maybe a year, 2 years to build that foundation on a high-rise building, and then that thing starts going up. And that's what we're doing right now is we're putting the foundation in, and we're starting to see results in our business. And one day it'll be that high-rise building. But before, when we weren't humble and using your coaching, it was more like a jumble of junk because I had all this stuff in my head that had to get done, Nobody was on the same page. Nobody knew what we were doing. And it's just made all the difference. So that's what I would say.
And Dr. Samantha, what do you say to somebody who's on the fence right now? They're like, okay, I'm going to go to thrivetimeshow.com and I'm thinking about scheduling a free 13-point assessment. What would you say?
Well, you have nothing to lose. It's a free assessment. You have nothing to lose, and it's a great starting point.
I love that you're month to month too. I don't know if we mentioned that, but you're month to month. So, like she says, worst case scenario, you got nothing to lose on the free assessment. And then after that, if it's not working out, it's not working out. And I think that's from both sides. If we're not doing what you want us to do, I think you're going to fire us, honestly. It was a gradual thing, but when I was a child, I had really horrible vision. And I was in the second grade and not doing well in school. And they finally thought, hey, maybe we should take him to the eye doctor. And I got glasses that changed my life. And so now I love doing that for other people. I think vision is super important. It's a great, important part of our lives. And so that's what we do.
Folks, the purpose of today's show is to encourage you that you have the mental capacity and the tenacity to grow a super successful company. Yes, it is true the co-host of the Thrivetime Show, Dr. Robert Zellner, is a very successful optometrist. And it is true that today's guests happen to also be optometrists, but you don't have to be an optometrist to become super successful. You just have to be willing to diligently implement a proven plan and to wow your customers. Or in their case, wow their patients. So that being said, Dr. Steve, welcome onto the show. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Clay?
I'm doing great. Now, what I'm going to do, just because of how we put together the show, could you share with us your first name and your last name and the name of your company, sir?
Yes, sir. My name is Steve Beatty. I'm with Eyes First, which is an optometry clinic in Tupelo, Mississippi.
And who is that wonderful woman next to you there, sir?
This is the brains behind it all. This is Dr. Samantha Beatty.
So, Dr. Samantha Beatty, how would you describe your optometry practice?
It's full scope. We see a variety of ages and patients. We take care of medical issues, everything from glasses to glaucoma.
And when did you get excited there about becoming an optometrist, Dr. Steve? Like, at what point did you think to yourself, yes, I want to become an optometrist?
It was a gradual thing, but when I was a child, I had really horrible vision. And I was in the second grade and not doing well in school. And they finally thought, hey, maybe we should take him to the eye doctor. And I got glasses that changed my life. And so now I love doing that for other people. I think vision is super important. It's a great, important part of our lives. And so that's what we do.
Now, Dr. Samantha, how did you meet Dr. Steve? Did you guys both share a passion for the human eyeball, or how did you guys meet?
We were in the same class in optometry school. We had a small class of 40 students, and we were two of them.
And so you decided to open your own clinic. Dr. Samantha, do you remember when you opened your own clinic, when you guys got started?
This clinic we opened 3.5 years ago, July of 2022.
And if people want to look up your website to verify you are, in fact, real people and not just models or holograms, what is your web address there?
It's eyesfirstms.com or eyesfirst.com.
Okay, I'm pulling it up on the screen so people can verify it's a real website. Here it is. So eyesfirstms.com. eyesfirstms.com. And Natalie, who has the opportunity to work with you guys and help you grow your practice, she's been bragging on you guys, and she refers to you internally. We call you guys diligent doers. And a diligent doer is somebody who's willing to consistently put in the effort day after day to make their business grow. Could you tell us, Dr. Samantha, how did you first hear about our business coaching program?
Steve heard about it, so I'll let him answer.
Well, I was familiar with you from the Reawakening tours, but I never got to attend one of those. And then I was actually Googling business coaches or whatever for eye doctors, and I stumbled upon you because of the Dr. Zellner connection. So that was kind of cool, but I was already familiar with Clay Clark.
Well, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to see if we can teach people how to grow a business in 15 minutes. Now, doing it, implementing it takes a little longer than that, but I want to walk people through how to grow a business. So for anybody who goes to thrivetimeshow.com, you're going to see thousands of success stories, but I'm going to tell everybody the secret of how we do it. Step number one, Dr. Samantha, you have to know your numbers. And I'm not going to ask you on today's show, your numbers, but why do you have to know your numbers as a business owner? Why do you have to know fundamentally, okay, this is how much we're selling, this is how many patients we're seeing? Why do you have to know the numbers?
Well, for one, we love what we do, but honestly, I don't think we want to do it for nothing. And so if you don't know what your numbers are, you don't know how to set a goal, you don't know if you're growing, you don't know which way you're headed. So you just have to know that for a basis for direction.
Now, Dr. Samantha, most entrepreneurs that we first start working with, they're a little bit concerned or skeptical or paranoid or not happy about the idea of checking or tracking their numbers on a weekly basis. But I'm very insistent upon it. And over time, clients we've worked with for 10 years, one of my clients who was just in the office today, most of our clients are out of town, but one of our clients was in town today. I've worked with the man for over 10 years. And he said, Clay, that weekly tracking sheet has helped me so much to keep me from drifting. How has the weekly tracking sheet, Dr. Samantha, tracking those numbers on a weekly basis impacted your practice?
Well, it's been eye-opening for sure, and it's given us motivation. It's given us direction. We've loved it so much that we've implemented it into our family as well.
Now, Dr. Steve, when you start tracking numbers, one of the things you can find out is, uh-oh, or wow, or there's a lot of those feelings that, uh-oh, or wow, and we track the things that are going to grow your practice. We want to track how many new patients you're seeing. We want to track what kind of feedback you're getting from the online community, your online reputation. How's that going? Have you seen an increase in the number of new patients since we've started working with you guys?
I have seen an increase in new patients. I don't have that number right here with me, but I do know this past year, we saw 24% more patients than the previous year. And I know our revenue was up 26%, which was awesome.
Dr. Samantha, as far as seeing new patients, what does that mean to your business when you're seeing new patients? When you see a new person walk through the door, someone you can help them to improve their vision, what does that mean for your business when you're seeing new people?
It just means it's alive and growing. That's why we're here. If you're not growing, you're dying. So we love to see the new patients, and it's overwhelming how many we see daily.
And I think you said, I'm taking notes here, Dr. Steve. I think you said you're up 27%. Is that right?
Revenue up 26.
Revenue's up 26%. I'm taking notes here. Revenue's up 26%. So with your business, so step one, you have to track. And folks, I've written entire books about this. You can go to thrivetimeshow.com, click on the testimonials. You can get all the resources right there. We also know we have to know what our break-even point is. We have to know, Dr. Samantha, how many patients do we need just to break even? Not even to, make a profit, but you have to know how many patients you need to break even. Why is that important for you and your husband to have an idea of how many patients you need to at least keep the lights on?
Well, it's important because it totally determines our whole family's income. If, like I said, we don't want to necessarily do this for free. So we have to know what our goal is for daily, weekly, monthly, yearly.
Now, Dr. Steve, one of the things I try to do, and maybe I don't do a good job at it, we'll see. I've been doing this for 20 years, always trying to get better. But every time I work with a business, whether it's an optometrist, a dentist, doctor, lawyer, online, shopping business, home builder, I try to make their marketing plan very specific, very repeatable, and very simple. And for each industry, it's a little different, So when I work with online retailers, their marketing plan is different. When I work with a home builder like Shaw Homes, we help those guys to grow from 14 million to 151 million. Their plan was very different than your plan. But let's talk about your plan, the plan specifically to grow an optometry clinic. We got to do VISMD. So videos, images, search engine content, more Google reviews, and we got to market to that Dream 100 center of influence. So again, video reviews, images, search engine content, more Google reviews, and marketing to that center of influence, that Dream 100. How has it impacted you, Dr. Steve, to have a plan that is simple enough to repeat to somebody who just started working for you yesterday?
Yeah, that's a great question, because we have brought in some new team members this year since we've been working with you. And just to be, a lot of times I would have like all this stuff in my head that has to happen for the business to run correctly. But now I actually have a plan in paper, and they know what they have to do to be successful as an employee here. And we have like a big, huge win for today. And I don't know if this is what your question was exactly, but we are now the #1 reviewed eye doctor in North Mississippi as of today. And our staff was like high-fiving each other and all that because they made that happen. They're getting Google reviews, they're getting images, they're getting all this stuff going on. So it's been really cool to watch.
Amen to that. Now, Andrew Carnegie wrote this book called The Gospel of Wealth. It's a small book with a lot of big ideas. And in the book, he talks about the 3 Ps. I'm paraphrasing, but it's a great book called The Gospel of Wealth. And in that book, he talks about the 3 Ps. And he basically says the conflict that is inherent within every business is every single customer wants to pay less. That's P number 1. Every customer wants to have lower prices. That's P number 1. Every customer wants lower prices. 2, every employee wants more pay. And I'm not attacking customers. I am a customer for wanting lower prices. I'm not attacking employees for wanting higher pay. And the 3rd P is profits. Nobody cares about the profits of the business owner except for the owners. So you have those 3 Ps, because if all the customers got lower prices, there would be no money to pay the employees. And if all the employees got the pay they wanted, then there would be no customers. And if we lowered the prices low enough and raised the wages high enough, then there would be no profits for the owner. I want to talk about managing employees. Dr. Samantha, as we go through the system, we start off on box number 1. We know the numbers. Box number 2, we get into marketing. How do we generate leads? But kind of step 3 for a lot of business owners is managing people. Can you tell us about how business coaching has helped you learn how to manage a team of wonderful people? You have wonderful people on your team, and how has it impacted your ability or learning how to manage people, I guess?
Right. It's very significant. We had a practice that we started in 1999. We sold it 15 years ago. The reason we sold it was the staffing and the management of our staff was overwhelming to us, and it was just hard. It was very stressful, and that was one of the primary reasons we sold it. At this point, we've been open 3.5 years, and since we've been working with you guys, it has simplified the whole staff management quandary that often happens at this point, and especially as you're growing. And sometimes it's easier to manage 1 or 2 staff, but then as you grow, we currently have 6 full-time, 4 part-time, so we have 10 staff at this point. And it can be very stressful.
Now, I mean this sincerely. I'm not just saying this because it's on video. I love my staff. We have some awesome people. And you know what? One of my longtime employees, true story, God bless her, this just happened. Her father passed away. Mm-hmm. And because we have systems in place, she came to me, tears in her eyes, and said, "Hey, he passed." And we were able to, my wife was able to pray with her. We were able to encourage her and tell her, "Hey, we care about you. Go do what you need to do. Take care of your dad. Once you do that, once you take care of the family, once you do what you do, you can come back. Your job's safe here. You're all good." But I couldn't do that if I didn't have systems, and so a lot of employers hold their employees hostage. I repeat, a lot of business owners hold their employees hostage because they don't have systems and redundancies. And I also repeat in reverse, a lot of employees hold their employers hostage because the employer doesn't know how to do anything. Nothing is systemized. Could you talk about the win-win relationship you're starting to develop, Steve, with this great team you have there as you systemize things and things become more redundant and more systemized?
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't know if this is exactly relevant to what you're asking, but we had one team member that was probably not in the best position for her, and we had actually considered letting her go. But I'm very loyal to a fault almost to my team, and talking with you guys, we found a spot for her, And like you said, we're putting systems in place so she knows what to do. She knows how to do it. The other new people we brought in, we had systems for them. They knew what to do, like from day two, basically getting here. And that was not the case back in the past. So it just makes a huge, huge improvement and impact in our team.
Now, the next area, again, we say, what are the areas? Number one, you got to know the number. You have to know the numbers. I might call that defense. You got to know the numbers. If you have a football team, it's defense, right? Offense is marketing. So what's defense? Defense is accounting, knowing the numbers. It's that defensive side of the ball. You need that to win. Offense is marketing, getting new customers. That middle part is that messy middle, special teams. It requires a special team to make the dream work. And that's kind of how that all works on a football team and in business. But then you got to worry about logistics. If you're the head coach, how do you organize your day? To-do lists. I know it seems simple. I know you'd say, why would an optometrist need to-do lists? On part 2 of today's show, I'm going to introduce everybody watching to a man who has 371 employees. When I first met him, he said, man, if I could ever have 5 employees, that'd be huge. Now he has 370 employees. And so why would a guy with 370 employees need a to-do list? Well, to-do lists and calendars are kind of like the steering wheel and the gas pedal for a car. I'm not really sure which one's the steering wheel and which one's the gas pedal, but you really have to have a to-do list and a calendar. Dr. Samantha, why do you have to have a to-do list and a calendar? And maybe what has our coaching program taught you about those tools?
Well, it gets everyone on the same page, because our to-do list is accessible to our whole team. They can, at any time they have downtime, they can look at it and they can see where they can help us with our list. Our whole office has a to-do list, and each individual person has one as well. So it just keeps us on the same page. It keeps us focused. You cannot keep everything in your head. So it's written down there in black and white. So whenever there's a downtime, it gives us somewhere to go.
Now, my wonderful kids, we all have different vision. I've got the worst vision ever. I mean, and my glasses are so thick. It's like some kind of device they would use to look into space to see other planets. It's pretty thick. I've got some of my kids have great vision, but whenever we need an optometrist, we go to Dr. Robert Zellner, and I've worked with him for years, and I'm happy to do so. When I need to get my car fixed, I take my vehicle to the garage. It's an automotive repair shop, and I've had the honor of coaching his business for a long time. When I needed to teach my kids piano lessons, I took them to Renee Pride. I'm just telling people, I believe in hiring experts to do what experts do. I believe professionals have coaches. I believe amateurs do not. And I think it's very important that if you're watching this and you're in the area and you're within the service area of your business, I think it makes sense to go to an optometrist as opposed to going to your wife and saying, what do you think's wrong with my vision? Or going to your husband and saying, what do you think's wrong with my vision? You want to go to someone who knows what they're talking about. But in business, a lot of times people feel like going to a coach is a sign of weakness. What do you say to somebody, Dr. Samantha, who's like, I feel like if I go to a coach, it's maybe a sign of weakness or inadequacy, or it shows that I don't have my stuff together. What would you say has been the value overall of having a business coach and coaching team like our team guiding you down the path and meeting with you on a weekly basis?
I'd say the number one thing for us is probably the accountability and the ideas, the expertise. Also, I'd say the expertise and the accountability hand in hand is very powerful.
And
Dr. Steve, what
I
do
would
you
just
say?
say, I'm sorry, I was going to say, so, there's a verse that says that God opposes the proud, but he gives grace to the humble. And I think that's super important. Like when you say, hey, I don't need anybody, I don't need a coach, I can do this all myself, that's pride. And that's, God literally will oppose that. And I think, we love to humbly ask, hey, we don't know what we're doing. We need help. We know how to check eyes, I think, a lot better than you do, but you know how to build a business better than we do. And, you got that picture of the Tower of Power. Did I mention that already?
No.
The Tower of Power, right? And so the Tower of Power is like you have all the little structures for a skyrise, a high-rise building, and it's got the foundation at the bottom. And it might take, I don't know how long it takes, but maybe a year, 2 years to build that foundation on a high-rise building, and then that thing starts going up. And that's what we're doing right now is we're putting the foundation in, and we're starting to see results in our business. And one day it'll be that high-rise building. But before, when we weren't humble and using your coaching, it was more like a jumble of junk because I had all this stuff in my head that had to get done. Nobody knew, nobody was on the same page. Nobody knew what we were doing. And it's just made all the difference. So that's what I would say.
I'm going to pull this up real quick because we have this wonderful visual that we've made that we use to teach clients called thrivetimeshow.com/Tower of Power. And from the bottom all the way up to the top, Dr. Zellner and I teach Google Map optimization and online reputation management and how to make a pro forma and website optimization and marketing and branding and workflow design and system creation and Dream 100 marketing and call scripts. And we teach all of this in a multi-hour series. You can go bite by bite, step by step, floor by floor in this diagram to learn how to start and grow a successful company. But I want to ask you this with the limited time we have. Dr. Samantha, we've also worked with you on scripts. So at a certain point, if your marketing's working, now you got inbound calls. Can you talk about the importance of implementing scripts or scripted phone calls or how we answer the phone in a way that's designed to wow? How has that impacted your company?
It keeps everyone on the same page. We've got the language that we want to get across to our patients, and we don't answer the phone. They answer the phone, the staff answers the phone, so they say the things we want to say to the patient every time. That's the goal.
Folks, I'm telling you, if I could just bottle up what I'm telling you and make it something you could just sip on every day. What I love about working with the doctor, the married couple team here is that they're sincerely great people. So it's a win-win-win. What am I saying? It's a win for my coaches, my team. We love serving you guys. It's a win for your business. You're growing, and it's a win for your patients. And if you're out there today and you feel even remotely stuck, I want you to head on over there. This is not a backhanded compliment. Go to eyesfirstms.com. One, it helps them rank higher in Google, but two, you're going to discover they're very real, normal people. You're going to go, oh, look, she's a normal person. Look, this is a great lady. This is the kind of person I want to meet at church. This seems like a normal person. This is not a bizarre person who's thrown their marriage out the window to make their business successful. This is not a person these are a committed couple who's committed to their business and their family, and I just couldn't be more honored to serve you guys. Final question I have for you, Dr. Steve. What's it meant for you knowing that you're paying a flat monthly fee, but yet you have photography, video, web, search engine, all of those things included at a flat monthly fee in addition to the weekly coaching and guidance?
Right. It just takes the stress out because, I'm sure there's other programs that, the rates go up depending on what services you're providing or blah, blah, blah. And then at the end of the month, you're like, oh my goodness, I racked up this huge bill. Well, I know I've got a flat rate and we know what it is. We got to budget it in. We take care of it. We don't even miss it, honestly, because you guys are helping us to grow. So it's just been a great, great situation.
And Dr. Samantha, what do you say to somebody who's on the fence right now? They're like, okay, I'm going to go to thrivetimeshow.com and I'm thinking about scheduling a free 13-point assessment. What would you say?
Well, you have nothing to lose. It's a free assessment. You have nothing to lose, and it's a great starting point.
Dr. Steve, what do you say to somebody out there who's like, I've been scammed by a charlatan before. I booked a free consultation. Next thing you know, I'm doing a timeshare tour. I got signed up for a $5,000 a month contract. After I was conned, I got stuck on a weird track. What do you say to somebody who's on the fence about scheduling a free 13-point because maybe they've been scammed in the past?
I love that you're month to month too. I don't know if we mentioned that, but you're month to month. So like she says, worst case scenario, you got nothing to lose on the free assessment. And then after that, if it's not working out, it's not working out. And I think that's from both sides. If we're not doing what you want us to do, I think you're going to fire us, honestly. Is that not true?
Well, I'll tell you, that's how we had room for you. I'm kind of laughing because that's
exactly.
How we had room for you. We talked to a wonderful person. It was a funny story. The father hired us to help his son. So the very successful entrepreneur wanted to hire us to help his son. And that's kind of like hiring a personal trainer for a friend of yours, and it just wasn't going to work. And so in order to make room for you, we had to offboard somebody. And so that's how it works. I want to ask you one final question there. I'm going to your website. Somebody's going to your website. If I am in the area, tell us, where are the markets that you serve in Mississippi there, Dr. Steve, for anybody who's maybe looking for an optometrist who's in Mississippi? What are the areas that you serve there in Mississippi, sir?
We're located in Tupelo, which is the northeast part of the state, and most famous for the birthplace of Elvis Presley. But we serve the entire area, so over into North Alabama, all the way to maybe Oxford, Mississippi, all that neck of the woods. So northeastern Mississippi. Now we may expand and have other locations at some point down the road, but right now we're nailing it and scale. We're nailing it before we scale it, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I am so excited to see you guys in person in Tulsa. It's an honor to talk to you via Zoom. Thank you, Dr. Samantha. Thank you, Dr. Steve, for being a great example of how success is possible if you're willing to put in the work. Thank you for wowing your patients. It makes it easy to optimize a website, by the way, when your customers like you and leave great feedback. So thank you guys very much, and I hope you have a great night.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you for
Take care. Bye.
You could be anywhere doing a lot of different things, but you chose to be here. And you chose to go somewhere. You said, man, I can go and I can get better. I can go and I can learn. I can go and I can maybe go from where I'm at to where I want to go. But one of the most important things that you will ever do or not do in your life is to value and seek wise counsel. To be coached hard means you have to be willing to be uncomfortable.
But that Clay Clark, man, he is one character.
It's a good word for him. Character. Yeah, that is it.
Good, driven, smart. And I've never met a guy who was so hyper all the time. He's doing so much good. And then I met his mother, and she just says, she just lets him be Clay Clark. I mean, so he's endorsed by his mother, and he's doing magnificent work. So it was great meeting you out there and all the people that he surrounds himself with. Clay Clark starts his days at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, it's incredible. Yeah, he's a machine. He's a machine.
Yeah. But I have problems with my company starting at 9 o'clock. Yes, hundreds of people showing up at 5 a.m. in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Man, he's a leader of a leader. He's a fantastic young man.
No, he is. He is.
My name is Kevin Thomas, and the name of our company is MultiClean. We are a commercial janitorial service, and we serve the entire state of Oklahoma and Kansas, and soon to be Arkansas. We have probably grown probably 5 times. We've added, I think when we first started with you, we had 60 to 65 employees. And now we have a little over 300 employees. Before we got involved with Thrivetime, we didn't really have any systems or processes in place. I've probably been to, in 6-7 years, I've probably been to 12 to 13 business conferences. And amazingly, each time I go, I learn something new, and I'm so excited to bring it back and show the team about marketing and how to implement how to help you guys implement the SEO, and the coaching is just great because there's accountability, and it's just a fantastic way to grow your company. Having a relationship with Thrivetime it's just been amazing for MultiClean.
Clay, my honor to be on your show, and thank you for all you do. I hear the ripple effects from you are good ripple effects. You know what I mean? People rave about what they learned from you. So congratulations.
Sean, guess what's happening? April 9th and 10th, 2026.
We are probably going to have an amazing business conference here at Tulsa Jerusalem.
Yes, we're joined by Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow is going to be joining us right here at the Thrivetime Show World Headquarters, June 5th and 6th. He's a very successful football player, obviously a Heisman Award winner, but he's also a very successful entrepreneur. Now, when you work with real clients, Sean, clients you really work with to help them grow their companies, do you ever hear a business owner tell you that they didn't have time to get something done?
Every day.
How often is not having enough time a problem for business owners?
All the time. It's like maybe 90% of the issues as people are trying to grow their company.
Well, Tim Tebow is going to come join us here at the in-person Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive business workshop, and he's going to teach us time management and his approach to personal self-discipline and getting things done. Also at the workshop, I'll put up on the website so people can see it here. Also at the 2-day interactive workshop, Sean, we are going to be, there it is. We're going to be teaching accounting, systems creation, marketing, human resources, how to hire, inspire, train, and retain great people, accounting, social media advertising, search engine optimization. Sean, what's the area where most clients ask you for help the most? Is it generating leads? Is it hiring people? What's the biggest issue that most business owners have by default before they come to one of our workshops?
Well, I think it's management, because time is the most valuable resource for these business owners, and being able to manage their time is the first thing. Once they get that under control, then generally the numbers, being able to track their business and be able to make the best decisions based on numbers rather than emotions is a big area. And we teach all of this stuff at the business conference, particularly you, Clay. You love to hammer on time management. It's my favorite part of the conference.
Now, I'm going to pull this up real quick here because we're going to go through. If you're not excited, I want to get you excited about what we're going to cover at the workshop here. Okay.
All right.
The 2-day interactive workshop. This is my 20th year hosting workshops. So I'm telling you, folks, we're in rare form here. So one is the idea of establishing your revenue goals. I think most entrepreneurs don't know their revenue goals. Would you agree, or am I off my rocker?
No, that's totally a very important point we do with every one of our new clients that come on board, is we have to establish the revenue goals. And generally speaking, we have a vague idea, but not an exact idea that can be engineered down into like the daily goals for sales. And so that's a really big one.
Now, next is the break-even numbers. What kind of sales do you have to do to even break even?
Yeah.
Third is, how many hours per week do you want to work? What is your ideal schedule as an entrepreneur? Box number 4, how do you stand out in the clutter of commerce? What makes your company unique from all the different businesses? In a world of brown cows, herds of brown cows, proverbial brown cows, the analogy of brown cows, how can you be the purple cow that stands out? How can you be the squeaky wheel that gets the oil? Box number 5, branding. How do you improve the perception that people have of you, your business, your brand? Box number 6, marketing, your 3-legged marketing stool. What is a turnkey way for you and your company to generate leads so you can succeed? Because if you don't have any leads, your business will bleed. If you can't sell, your business will go to hell. You've got to generate leads. Sean, how often do business owners by default tell you they have a hard time generating leads?
It's almost all of the time. It's really a huge struggle. And many times they may be creating leads, but just through word of mouth. So they get to a point where we've implemented systems, and then they need to create more leads, but they've never had to do it. So there's a lot of different scenarios where business owners are like, how do you create leads? Something we hammer on at the conference a lot.
Box number 7, create a sales conversion system. Again, box number 7, create a sales conversion system. Sales scripts, recorded calls, one-sheets, pre-written emails, lead trackers, all of the sales tools, the sales print pieces, the one-sheets, the big screens that you see inside the business. Whether you're a doctor, you're a dentist, you're a lawyer, you got to have sales systems in place. We help you with that. Box number 8, what does it cost you to get another customer? Step number 8, what does it cost you to actually acquire a customer? Step number 9, it's hard to build an organization if you're not organized. We're going to teach you how to create repeatable systems, processes, file organization. Box number 10, we're going to teach you how to manage people, real people on the planet Earth. This just in, we're going to teach you how to manage real people on the planet Earth. Box number 11, how to create a sustainable schedule that works for you and your family. Step number 12, how to create human resources systems for recruiting, hiring, training, and retaining great people. Box number 13, accounting. This just in, we have to cover accounting. It's not how much you make, it's how much you keep. We're going to cover all the accounting things you need to know. And step 14, finally, what is the point of even achieving success? We're going to go over what is the point of even achieving success, how to design a life that you're excited about, how to design a life where you carve out enough time for your faith, your family, your finance, your fitness, your friendship, your fun, and where you're going to spend your focused time. We're going to go through that, all this and more. Now, the workshop, Sean, it's April 9th and 10th. It's a 2-day interactive workshop. And tickets, we always do it. It's $250 or whatever price that someone can afford. Sean, why do we let people name their price? Why do we have scholarship tickets available if somebody can't afford the $250 general admission ticket?
Well, we don't want anybody to miss out on it. You know, you could be at a startup phase or you could be, way along in your business, but we want to make it accessible for everybody. I think it actually goes back to a story of your dad. And like, it goes all the way back to how you've always done this as a business coach, trying to make sure that, your average people out there have access to the things that work.
Now, 7 a.m. to 5. Sean, why do we go from 7 to 5 both days? I mean, it's 10 hours a day. 20 hours of training over 2 days. Why do we do 10 hours a day, Sean, of back-to-back workshops? We do a 30-minute teaching session. We do a 15-minute question and answer session, and then we take a break. 30 minutes of teaching, 15 minutes of question and answer, then we take a break. Why do we do that format, Sean?
That format is so that we can keep people engaged and not just sitting there listening, but also getting involved. We really encourage people to ask questions, and that's really where the juiciness of the conference comes out, is you can put your personal situation and your questions on the board, and Clay will tee off and give you direct advice. Even without being in our coaching program, you can get direct coaching from Clay. It's really a very engaging format. I enjoy it a lot.
Once again, folks, this event is April 9th and 10th, 2026. Get those tickets at thrivetimeshow.com. Once again, that's thrivetimeshow.com. Whoa. Who's our keynote speaker coming to the conference there, Sean?
Tim Tebow is our keynote speaker.
Sean, question number 3. How much does it cost to come to our in-person 2-day interactive business workshop right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma?
I think it's, did you say it's $250 or whatever you can afford?
That's right, $250
yes.
or whatever you can afford. Sean, how do you spell Eric Trump backwards?
P-M-U-R-T-C-I-R-E. Ooh, that took a long time.
I'll have to listen to this. You did it right. All right, again, that's Sean Lohman. I'm Clay Clark, inviting you to come join us at the in-person Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive workshops. This event is April 9th and 10th, 2026. Get those tickets at thrivetimeshow.com. Once again, that's thrivetimeshow.com. Right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Tim Tebow, baby. It's Tebow time.
Oh, yeah.
Tulsa, Jerusalem.
You could be anywhere doing a lot of different things, but you chose to be here.
Clay Clark is here somewhere. Where's my buddy Clay? Clay's the greatest. I met his goats today. I met his dogs. I met his chickens. I saw his compound. He's like the greatest guy.
I ran from his goats, his chickens, his dogs.
So this guy's like the greatest marketer you've ever seen, right? His entire life, Clay Clark, his entire life is marketing.
Hey guys, Luke Erickson here with the Thrivetime Show. As you can see behind me, we've got all kinds of energy going on. People are starting to show up for the conference, and it is hot in this place. We got grill guns over here. We've got people playing the drums. We've got a fire breather, and man, people are so excited as they come in.
Conference is kicked off. This house is packed. We've got Aaron Hansis with Sean Holmes up there. We've got Steve Currington with Total Lending Concepts up there talking about what is possible when you just implement, when you do the proven system. It's so exciting. People are going crazy.
Guys, Luke Erickson with the Thrivetime Show here with you. It is day 2, and the energy is high. People are so excited to be showing up. The team is ready. Come on, let's see what it's like to go on in for day 2. Follow me.
My name is Kevin Thomas, and the name of our company is MultiClean. We are a commercial janitorial service, and we serve the entire state of Oklahoma and Kansas, and soon to be Arkansas. We have probably grown probably 5 times. We've added, I think when we first started with you, we had 60 to 65 employees, and now we have a little over 300 employees. Before we got involved with Thrivetime, we didn't really have any systems or processes in place. So I've probably been to, in 6-7 years, I've probably been to 12 to 13 business conferences, and amazingly, each time I go, I learn something new, and I'm so excited to bring it back and show the team.
4,000% from February to February. Now I can better that. Okay, Clay, I don't think you know this. I don't think you know this. I'm pinching myself, and if I cry, forgive me. In the last 2.5 days, we have bettered our entire month of February in the last 2.5 days?
I heard about it on the podcast. Started listening to the podcast, became a fan, and then figured out about the workshop. I own an insurance and financial services agency, and I was hoping to learn from the workshop systems and processes. I'm big on systems and processes and always learning better ways to run a business more efficiently. The atmosphere's second to none. It's a high energy, really cool atmosphere to be around. Contagious, I would say. Just something every entrepreneur, I think, would appreciate and love. I'd say humorous, high energy, and full of substance, which I think is the key. A lot of business coaches or seminars maybe are high on motivation and making you feel good, but don't have a lot of substance that you can take back and implement, the following Monday, where his does. Man, there's a lot of valuable things. I'm gonna say, this is my second workshop. The first workshop I took back really the importance of a group interview. I used to spend hours and hours interviewing people, screening resumes, and that saving my time on that part is valuable. It was that and then the sales scripting that have been two major things just so far. Man, I think they're missing out on, expert advice from somebody who's been there, done that, built companies, has learned a lot of lessons. That's what I'm always looking for, is somebody that I can learn from that's ahead of where I am. And I think if you choose not to come, you're missing out on a lot of good advice that could help your business.
Hi, this is Charles and Amber Koloff. We're the owners of Koloff Fitness. We heard about Clay Clark through Paul Hood, our CPA. We've worked with Clay Clark for the last 2 years. Clay Clark has helped us take our 3 locations in 3 different states and create checklists, workflows, task lists, time blocks for every employee. He's helped us with creating systems and audits for every department, quantitative scorecards for each department and every position so that everybody has a number. It's been able to give us a lot of time freedom and financial freedom and peace of mind to know that everything's running efficiently, and he's been helpful with a lot of marketing, search engine optimization, helping us really rank high in Google, and pretty much every area of the business. It's been very, very helpful.
We would describe the experience of working with Clay as very energetic. He's full of energy. He's very encouraging, very motivating, but also accountable. So he keeps us accountable, and we love that accountability. It keeps our drive in the right direction, so we're not chasing things that aren't worth spending our time on.
Yeah, he's a great coach. He helps push us on certain areas, helps coach us in certain areas. We're all emotional creatures, and we go up and down, and he actually will tell us kind of where we're at, how we can get from there, and even emotionally, when we're stressed about something, he'll have a story to relate to, and it really helps us in every area of our business. It's been very, very helpful.
I think Clay's ability to have a whole team behind him that help him with all of his clients, all his coaching clients, is that it allows Clay to do what he's really good at, and that's working one-on-one with the client and coaching them. And then he can have his amazing staff come in and help you accomplish all these goals that you're setting.
And of course, he has all these resources, whether it's videographers or whether it's web developers, that they can quickly jump on your project, knock things out. He can quickly give you the right coaching. He's just got a whole team of people that whatever area you're lacking in your own company, he's got resources from video, web design, search engine guys who are just knowledgeable in that. Even though he knows a lot of that stuff, he's got these capable lieutenants that are ready to just take off and help you get that stuff. More stuff gets done on a weekly basis than you would on probably most than the individual or some other we've worked with several companies before, and it's just not as many things get done on a weekly basis, so it's been very helpful. Well, the conferences for me, I'm a slow learner, so I have to learn over and over again, hear things over and over again. I've been to I think 8 different conferences, and each time you come, I learn a few new components. Some things are repetitive, but a lot of the stuff just resettles, and I get a little bit more depth into each component. So I mean, I've been to 8 of them. They're all super entertaining. He's very funny, very encouraging. You get to kind of self-reflect a lot. A lot of the stuff is really polarizing. You do a personal inventory of yourself, and you'll think like, hey, I've really got to work on this, really got to work on that. So every time you come, I still get a lot of value out of it.
And as much as every conference is the same, it's totally different. So I think we'll hear stories we haven't heard before. He'll have entertainment, or he'll have speakers he didn't have before. And you, like you said, you just always catch a different part of the material that maybe you didn't catch before, or it's worded differently.
And it's really cool because some people that you've seen like a year ago at a conference, now they're being showcased as a success story, and you get to see their website, you get to see how their stats, all their metrics have improved and the revenue improved. So it's really cool to see people that just a year ago, that of course we've been here 2 years, that just came, that I met, is now being successful. It's really encouraging to see other people, accomplish that stuff. So Clay has helped us optimize our website and helped with really topping the right search engines that we need to make sure that we are very, very competitive with all of our other competitors. He's done, basically he outlines exactly what you need to be accomplishing, and he creates tasks that we have to accomplish and his team has to accomplish. And I would say over the last 2 years, we've totally ramped our website. We're topping Google in every one of our markets. We're just doing, I would say just doing really, really good. I feel very, very confident in all of our future locations and making sure that we're in front of the ideal and likely buyer. It's very encouraging. It's important to me to know when I'm working with Clay, I've been in business for a while and met with him even when I already had three businesses in 3 different states, and to know that what I share with him is staying private. He's not sending that out to anybody else. To know that when he's working with me, he's only working with no other gyms that are in direct competition with me. It's very encouraging to have somebody you can trust and rely on, that he isn't going to somehow tell your trade secrets or give information away. Just really awesome that he's a trustworthy guy, really cares about you as a client. For us, it's been a complete mind freedom because Clay has helped us create a lot of different documents and one-sheets for every department, put quantitative scorecards to each department. And so for us, it's been very encouraging and gives us peace. And when, as an entrepreneur, it's stressful. You go to bed at night, you're worried, did we cover this, did we cover that? So he helps extract everything out of your brain, everything from your business, put it into document creation, put it into checklists and workflows for every person in each department, and make sure that everything's getting done every week, every month, and funnel that all into KPIs or key performance indicators that you can see on a weekly basis to make sure you're moving the needle in the right area of your company. So it's very encouraging and give you a complete mind freedom and peace to know that stuff's created so you're easy to duplicate and scale your company.
Right, and then we can spend time doing what we're really good at and just trust the system.
I honestly believe everybody needs a coach. I think we're all inherently lazy and selfish and carnal. I truly believe that humans are humans. If we're standing, we'd rather sit. If we're sitting, we'd rather lay down. And if we're laying down, we'd rather be asleep. So to have somebody that challenges you, have real active candor, and be honest with you on every aspect of your company is really, really encouraging to me, because I want to know, I want to work on what we're weak at. I want to see any areas that we're not doing well in, and see his perspective from a third party, because you can look at your own business and just see the good. It's good to have somebody who's done this with hundreds of companies, really look at your company, reflect on your company, and see little chinks in the armor to make sure you cover that up so your competition can't get to you, and that you're successful overall in the big picture. So yes, I would recommend Clay Clark because he is a great friend, a great encourager. To me, he's been a wonderful friend. He's also, you can tell he cares, and he has this wealth of knowledge. He's worked with so many different companies and different businesses. He could take a concept that he's used before in the past with somebody totally different industry and see how it would work perfectly for you in whatever niche market you're in or whatever type of service you're providing. And so his brain is just a wealth of knowledge, and just to have that type of perspective on, as a part of your team and your own company is huge, super valuable. So I would definitely encourage people to use him. But one thing is, you got to be coachable. You got to be wanting to get feedback. You got to be wanting to really grow your company. You got to want to put that extra 10 hours a week to working on your business and not just in your business. And so, yes, I would recommend it to anybody who's wanting to grow their company and provide great systems, checklists, workflows, great encouragement, and have accountability.
Hi, I'm Aaron Antis with Shaw Homes. I first heard about Clay through a mortgage lender here in town who had told me what a great job he had been doing for them, and I actually noticed he was driving a Lamborghini all of a sudden, so I was willing to listen. In my career, I've sold a little over $800 million in real estate. So honestly, I thought I kind of knew everything about marketing and homes. And then I met Clay, and my perception of what I knew and what I could do definitely changed. After doing $800 million in sales over a 15-year career, I really thought I knew what I was doing. I've been managing a large team of salespeople for the last 10 years here with Shaw Homes. And I mean, we've been a company that's been in business for 35 years. We've become one of the largest builders in the Tulsa area, and that was without Clay. So when I came to know Clay, I really thought, man, there's not much more I need to know, but I'm willing to listen. The interesting thing is our internet leads from our website has actually, in a 4-month period of time, has gone from somewhere around 10 to 15 leads in a month to 180 internet leads in a month. Just from the few things that he's shown us how to implement that I honestly probably never would have come up with on my own. So I got a lot of good things to say about the system that Clay put in place with us, and it's just been an incredible experience. I am very glad that we met and had the opportunity to work with Clay. So the interaction with the team and with Clay on a weekly basis is honestly very enlightening. One of the things that I love about Clay's perspective on things is that he doesn't come from my industry. He's not somebody who's in the home building industry. I've listened to all the experts in my field. Our company has paid for me to go to seminars, international builder shows, all kinds of places where I've had the opportunity to learn from the experts in my industry. But the thing that I found working with Clay is that he comes from such a broad spectrum of working with so many different types of businesses that he has a perspective that's difficult for me to gain because I get so entrenched in what I do, I'm not paying attention to what other leading industry experts are doing. And Clay really brings that perspective for me. It is very valuable time every week when I get that hour with him. From my perspective, the reason that any business owner who's thinking about hooking up with Thrive needs to definitely consider it is because the results that we've gotten in a very short period of time are honestly monumental. It has really exceeded my wildest expectation of what he might be able to do. I came in skeptical because I'm very pragmatic, and as I've gone through the process over just a few months, I've realized it's probably one of the best moves we've ever made. I think a lot of people probably feel like they don't need a business or marketing consultant because they maybe are a little bit prideful and like to think they know everything. I know that's how I felt coming in. I mean, we're a big company that's definitely one of the largest in town. And so we kind of felt like we knew what we were doing. And I think for a lot of people, they let their ego get in the way of listening to somebody that might have a better or different perspective than theirs. I would just really encourage you, if you're thinking about working with Clay, I mean, the thing is, it's month to month. Go give it a try and see what happens. I think in the 35-year history of Shaw Homes, this is probably the best thing that's happened to us. And I know if you give them a shot, I think you'll feel the same way. I know for me, the thing I would have missed out on if I didn't work with Clay is I would have missed out on literally an 1,800% increase in our internet leads. Going from 10 a month to 180 a month, that would have been a huge financial decision to just decide not to give it a shot. I would absolutely recommend Clay Clark to anybody who's thinking about working with somebody in marketing. I would skip over anybody else you were thinking about, and I would go straight to Clay and his team. I guarantee you're not going to regret it, because we sure haven't.
My name is Danielle Sprick, and I am the founder of D Sprick Realty Group here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. After being a stay-at-home mom for 12 years and my 3 kids started school and they were in school full-time, I was at a crossroads and trying to decide what do I want to do? My degree and my background is in education, but after being a mom and staying home and all of that, I just didn't have a passion for it like I once did. My husband suggested real estate. He's a home builder, so real estate and home building go hand in hand, and we just rolled with it. I love people, I love working with people, I love building relationships, but one thing that was really difficult for me was the business side of things. The processes and the advertising and marketing. I knew that I did not have what I needed to make that what it should be. So I reached out to Clay at that time, and he and his team have been extremely instrumental in helping us build our brand, help market our business, our agents, the homes that we represent. Everything that we do is a direct line from Clay and his team and all that they've done for us. We launched our brokerage, our real estate brokerage, 8 months ago. And in that time, we've gone from myself and one other agent to just this week, we signed on our 16th agent. We have been blessed with the fact that we right now have just over 10 million in pending transactions. 3 years ago, I never would have even imagined that I would be in this role that I'm in today, building a business, having 16 agents. But I have to give credit where credit's due, and Clay and his team and the business coaching that they've offered us has been huge. It's been instrumental in what we're doing. Don't ever limit your vision. When you dream big, big things happen.
I started a business because I couldn't work for anyone else. I do things my way. I do what I think is in the best interest of the patient. I don't answer to insurance companies. I don't answer to large corporate organizations. I answer to my patient, and that's it. My thought when I opened my clinic was I can do this all myself. I don't need additional outside help in many ways. I went to medical school. I can figure this out. But it was a very, very steep learning curve. Within the first 6 months of opening my clinic, I had a $63,000 embezzlement. I lost multiple employees. Clay helped us weather the storm of some of the things that are just a lot of people experience, especially in the medical world. He was instrumental in helping with the specific written business plan. He's been instrumental in hiring good quality employees, using the processes that he outlines for getting in good talent, which is extremely difficult. He helped me in securing the business loans. He helped me with web development and search engine optimization. We've been able to really keep a steady stream of clients coming in because they found us on the web. With everything that I encountered, everything that I experienced, I quickly learned it is worth every penny to have someone in your team that can walk you through and even avoid some of the pitfalls that are almost invariable in starting your own business. I'm Dr. Chad Edwards, and I own Revolution Health and Wellness Clinic.
Clay, my honor to be on your show, and thank you for all you do. I hear the ripple effects from you are good ripple effects, you know what I mean? People rave about what they learned from you, so congratulations.
And we went from expecting maybe 250,000 this year to we're at 400,000. Hi, I'm Kelsey with K&D's Woodruff Finishing, business owner at 23. So I've been working this K&D's company for about 5 years now, and we started working with Thrive not too long ago. And we went from expecting maybe 250,000 this year to we're at 400,000. That's what we're going to hit or exceed. So we're pretty excited about that. It's been pretty much just listening to what they have to say, their hiring process, has just really been incredible as far as finding good quality help, and the just the accountability of meeting up with them weekly, and like such good insight, the resources that they have for specific business questions. It's all been really incredible. It's been a great experience, so I would recommend it to anybody.
What I've seen from Clay and his group at Thrive is they'll give you a simple system, and it's the simple systems are the ones that people can wrap their brain around. They're the ones that people can work with on a day-to-day basis.
Hi there, my name is Stephanie Pipkin. I am 24 years old and I own Black River Falls Cleaning Services. We opened in April of 2019 and it is now mid-June of 2020. So I wanted to talk today about the success and growth I have achieved by implementing the Proven Path with Clay Clark's team and my business coach Luke from Thrivetime. It has been insane to say the least. I started working with them in mid-February of this year, so we're about 4 months in of working together, and it has completely transformed my business in pretty much every facet. So I'm gonna check my notes here. So in 4 months, my leads have tripled. I was getting probably like 2 leads a week. Now I'm getting more in the like 10 to 15 leads a week. I have doubled my number of employees. I'm now hitting the highest revenue weeks in the history of the company, week to week it seems like. We went from about 6 appointments today as our highest in February to now 14 to 15 appointments a day. And hiring quality employees has become much simpler and less stressful by using their systems for hiring. I typically only get maybe 2 complaints a month, if that, and everybody shows up to work. I just have really high quality employees now, especially in something people typically consider a high turnover type of work, you know, cleaning houses, cleaning businesses. I have amazing employees now, and I get rid of the ones who are not so amazing and bring on new ones because of, you know, group interviews and interviewing every single week. It's just been great, and such I don't waste as much time on low quality candidates anymore. And your coach will hold you accountable, I mean, which I love. Again, the tough love is really great. You know, Luke's like a stern father figure, but he's also nice, but also stern when he needs to be, when I'm being lazy and not doing the things that I know I need to do because I don't want to do them. So that's just great. Worth every penny. I mean, I'd pay him $1 million a month if I can, and maybe someday I'll be able to, but I would just say go for it. If it seems like a good fit, just go for it. Do what they say, even if you think it's stupid or ridiculous. Just do what they say because it'll work. You know, people, when they look at my business, you know, people in my town, they think I'm lucky. They think I'm just, you know, things just happen for me. And, you know, maybe I am lucky, but it has a lot to do with hard work and, you know, perseverance and, you know, working till you cry sometimes. That's just being an entrepreneur, which if you're a business owner, you understand that. But it's having these systems in place of, you know, of course I'm going to be successful. It's an absolute because I have all this stuff in the background happening, and I have Luke and Clay and everybody on their team working really hard to make sure that I'm a success. And I can tell that they are just so excited every single week when I'm having all these wins and things like that. They're so excited for me. So it's the best thing ever, and I would suggest to anybody to work with them. So sorry for the long-winded reply, but I just had so much to say, and I could go on for hours probably about how amazing they are. But thank you to Clay and Luke and the entire team there, everything you guys have done for me, and I am so excited to continue to work with you for years to come. Thanks so much for watching.
My saying is, if it's important to you, hire a coach. And I think that's one of the reasons people are not successful is they eat a cheeseburger instead of hiring a coach, you know what I mean? And so my coach pushes me. They're younger than me. They push harder. They're trained. And as my rich dad always said, you know, amateurs don't have a coach, but professionals always have coaches. So I've always had coaches for whatever was important. You know, my rich dad was one of those persons. Whoa.